You call me Mr. Perfect.
Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello and welcome to another episode of Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. I am your host, Steph. On our Perfect podcast today, this is episode 56. My gosh, I can't believe we're at 56, but here we are at 56. I have the wonderful Matt Collins is over there. And down here I have the wonderful Angel Riviera. Angel was a little late. I just wanted to start so that we can't go past 8 o'clock because that's when my son goes to bed. Okay. And mommy needs to, read him the stories. So this is just happy-go-lucky time. We're going to do an ultimate rib collection for Curt Hennig. I'm just going to show a couple of his ribs. Well, a couple. I got like 28 of them. But because a lot of people came out and were telling these stories. And they are great. And by the way, I have a fly in here. So if you see me with the fly swatter, I'm getting the fly. Okay. Nasty flies. Okay. So this is really easy and simple. I'm just going to share my screen. Also, guys, if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, I think I'm going to go to Kobe. So hold off on that. But I do have my Cashapp in the description field. So if you'd like to give to me, just go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to do it for both of us, both of my channels there, Matt. And then like whatever we get from Kofi, we'll go 50-50 to both of us. I think that's the way to go because Patreon is being really weird about certain things and I'm just not kosher with it. So what we're here today to talk about Curt Hennig's ribs, and he was the king of ribs. I really think he could give, Owen Hart a run for his money. And so I'm going to show the first one and then we'll talk about it. But laugh and have fun. That's what we're here to do. We're just going to laugh along to some of these stories are just, I can't tell you how hilarious they are. Because when I heard them the first time, I was like, man, you gotta be kidding me. Curt had to be somewhere laughing it up. I'm serious. Like he literally was probably somewhere in the shadows laughing it up. So this is the first one. This is the Nasty Boys were on Stone Cold's podcast. Oops, excuse me. And they literally told the story of when Curt got them all 3 sheets to the wind, and he was having issues with Wahoo McDaniels and Ray Stevens at the time, and he had actually gotten his tire slashed, which is not a good thing. So they go into the story, and of course, Stone Cold he gives mad respect to Curt. He never saw Curt without a smile on his face. And he's like, he tells you what ribs are and basically goes into a little bit of a story about it. What I would like to do is I would love to interview Stone Cold and see if Curt ever ribbed him. So that would be my question for Stone Cold. All right, here we go. I'm going to unmute that. If it's ever too loud, just let me know.
Well, what kind of ribs were you guys pulling at an early age? And to my listeners all across the world, I know a large part of my wrestling audience will know what the ribs are. Ribs, to my people that don't necessarily know wrestling, are practical jokes that guys play on one another just to alleviate pressure or for a few laughs, or maybe because you don't really like someone, but they're a big part of the pro wrestling scene. Well, what kind of ribs, if you guys are pretty ballsy to be pulling ribs on veterans that have years of experience. What the hell were you guys doing?
That's the Western Hole, it was called, up in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And Wahoo and Curt kind of had a little thing going on. And at the time, Wahoo was the booker, and him and Ray Stevens were staying in a room together. So he had us bang on their door real loud. This was an outside hotel. You could just drive up to the room.
Yeah, like a
we banged on the door. Boom, 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 boom. And when they opened it, we were sitting in the back of Curt's truck with Sag had one and I had one with one of these 50 Roman candles each, so 100 shots each. And when they opened the door, bing, bang, boom, boom, they were getting blasted by
it was July 4th.
Fireballs. Red, yellow, blue were coming shooting in. And then the next day, Curt Hennig's tires were slashed. I guess, Wahoo went and flattened 3 of his tires with a knife. And then there one star that Wahoo brought in, his name was Mitch Snow, and he was a pretty boy. Well, he drank too much and fell asleep, and then he woke up with no eyebrows. That was one of the.
It's funny.
That was good.
It's funny how
no
anytime
eyebrows
you guys
there.
are around somebody and someone goes to sleep or passes out, more correctly, y'all had a nasty tendency to shave off said eyebrows. What was it with the eyebrows that you guys love so much?
Dude, I don't know. That was something that Curt Hennig, I don't know who actually invented that damn rib. But, I lost my eyebrows a couple of times. And you know what? It wouldn't cut both of them off. You would only shave one of them off.
So you
look
look
like a moron when you're going through the airport, And,
it takes a while for them to come back.
Hey, I want to tell you, I only got Curt once. And it was great because he didn't know it until he got to the airport. But he went to check in his flight, because we were in the Tennessee territory at the time, in the Mid-South. This was '87.
Yeah.
And we finally got him. He didn't know it. And we rushed him to the airport. And then when he got off, and he went, next to the lady was looking at him weird, and he touched his thing. He went, "You son of a bitch, you got me." You know what I mean? So this is what he did to us. For me and Chad had a one bedroom. In this one bedroom in Tennessee, we had the Rockers staying with us. We had Scott Hall at one time staying with us. Everybody staying with us in this one little shitty, crappy one bedroom apartment. So Curt leaves and about a month goes by, and me and Chad are at each other's throat. Chad's going, "Wash your fucking stuff. It smells like shit in here." And I'm going, "It's not me, it's your stuff."
You're in here, right?
Yeah, we were almost going to fisticuffs. Finally, we go and clean the whole room out. And right in between, we both had twin beds. And right in between, we had the nightstand. We pull out the drawer, and we're cleaning out the drawer. In the very back, there's a Dove soap container. And Chad goes, "What's this?" And when we pulled it out, that damn Hennig took a dump and put it in that Dove container, that Dove soap container, and put it in the back of our night table stand there in the drawer. And it was like a shit deodorizer. And it stank up the whole room, and had me and Chad almost at fisticuffs going, "Your stuff stinks. No, your stuff stinks." And here, Curt ripped us and put a real live poop deodorizer in our room,
And that's the thing about, Curt was a tremendous worker, one of the nicest guys. I mean, he introduced me to a lot of people when I first came to WWF. But he was always so good about helping guys, taking them under his wing, mentoring a lot of guys. But to people who didn't get a chance to really see or know too much of Curt Hennig, God rest his soul, he was one of the biggest ribbers in the history of the business. And Curt was one of those guys. And I didn't know Curt real well, but I knew him well enough. He just had that personality where you could be mad at him for like 15 minutes, and then, you just had to forgive him because he was such a cool guy. And, he was just mischievous, and he always had that smile on his face. I don't think as many times as I crossed paths with Curt Hennig that I ever saw that guy in a bad mood or without a smile on his face.
Okay, guys. So I'm going to open the floor I'm going to stop sharing there. I'm going to open the floor, and we'll start with you, Matt. What did you think about that rib? And just kind of give us how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how funny you found that.
No, it's pretty funny. I love ribs, but they're hard to eat with facial hair. No, we used to do that kind of stuff in high school. Throw small fireworks into the bathroom when someone's using the restroom, and they don't come out for the rest of lunch. So, but that's awesome.
So, for those who may have not heard, Curt apparently, and this will be, they will reiterate this part and kind of go into a little more detail on the Ric Flair podcast. Excuse me, where Curt was having issues with Wahoo McDaniels, and he was the booker at the time. And they say on Ric Flair's podcast that, I mean, the Nasty Boys got all liquored up, and they gave him some. I think Curt would do what they call a rainbow cocktail, which is like it's some kind of like pill along with Jack Daniels, because Curt was always known for Jack Daniels. He loved Jack Daniels. So he would get them all liquored up, and there were 3 sheets to the wind, and it was July 4th. It was around July 4th, and Curt said, "Now, when I say go, light the fireworks." Okay, so it was like one big, big thing, and of course they have some other ones. Now this one, this is called. It's just Conan on dealing with Curt Hennig behind the scenes. I'm sorry, Angel. Your thoughts on this, and what exactly you thought from 1 to 10? How funny was this?
I didn't find it that funny because it reminded me of high school, or not high school, but college, when I lost my eyebrows too in a very similar situation.
Oh no, you went to sleep too early.
Yeah, my favorite alcohol was Christian Brothers brandy, which I still have some here, and I still drink it. Anyways, I drank too much. I dozed off, and I woke up with no eyebrows. It's like, the fuck? Who did this? It's like, they did. Fuckers did this. Like he did it. So I'm like,
yeah. Hennig wasn't there.
Yeah, and then I went to class. I had to go to class with no eyebrows for weeks. I was like,
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty funny, I mean, yeah, it's not. That's why it reminded me of that. I just wanted to mention that, and the other one with the fireworks. I mean, it's like kind of dangerous, but at the same time hilarious, because that all you can do is just laugh at that type of stuff.
Well, I mean, there will be. Go ahead.
They used to draw markers that, like, they would make an eyeball on your eyes. My friends, they weren't cutting off your eyebrows type. That's a bit extreme, I have to agree. Although it would be funny to see in the airport.
Well, I guess. I really didn't go to those kind of parties, so I was never really ribbed. I can honestly say, but my man sometimes he likes to tease me. I don't know if they're technically ribs, but he definitely likes to tease me about things, especially because one time, Minnesota, the Vikings were doing better than the Steelers, and of course he likes to tease me about, hey, the Vikings are better than the Steelers. And then of course, I get to tease him now because Texas Longhorns are number 1 in the country. So I get to, tease them a little bit. Hey, how about them Minnesota Golden Gophers, huh? They lost. Whereas Texas just annihilated the team that they were playing last night. Okay, this one is, it's called Conan on dealing with Curt Hennig behind the scenes. I definitely like this one, but though I think this has more to do like what he did behind the scenes versus like there will be one I will bring up about where Conan and Disco Inferno actually read my email that I sent to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sent them an email and I asked them about all these ribs. Dave Penzer, Curt put his briefcase up in the ceiling in the rafters. I'm like, well, you're 256. How in the world did you get up there in the first place? Curt's not a small guy. He's very buff. He was like 257 pounds. So I'm like, how did you get up there first? All right, I'm going to share a screen here. Okay. So again, we're going to hear this one. This is only like 2 minutes long.
Next one's from Jared Smith.
Not true, though.
The subject is Curt Hennig and the West Texas Rednecks. What it do, guys? Hope all is well. Do you guys have any memories of Curt Hennig? Is he known for playing backstage ribs in WCW like he did in WWE? Also, K-Dog, what was it like feuding with the West Texas Rednecks? I'll answer. Curt was an ultimate ribber.
Yeah.
And he was like the ribber that was always hiding in plain sight because he would mess something up, and he'd be like the type of guy going, "Hey guys, we got to take care of this. We got to help Disco get it." He was like that ribber.
Grow up, everybody. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. He was one of those. He would hide in plain sight and act like he didn't do it.
And one of the most entertaining, funniest guys you could be around, and a cool person
I had met him through Art Bar Love Machine because they both worked in Portland. And when I was in WWE doing Max Moon, he was there, and he would always be talking to Art Bar, and he'd always tell him, "Look, I'm commentating. I'm getting Lloyd's of London. Then I'm gonna go wrestle." Like he always has some sort of hustle going on. Then when he came to WCW, Scott Hall always put him over to me like this huge mentor and X-Pac. And bro, we'd be in Las Vegas and he'd be drunk and with his dad and talking with people, and he'd be barely even noticing what he was doing, and he'd be winning. I'm serious. I'm not making this up to make it more, just always a happy, super cool dude. And when we were doing the West Texas Redneck and versus rap thing, he wasn't feeling that too much. And he thought he should be higher on the card. And I remember telling him, all that, bro. They don't know what they're doing. Let's just go out there. Let's just rip it. Let's raise our stock. And so we're more valuable to them. And he really got into it. He really came up with the song Rap is Crap. And, he really got into it. And he was a super cool dude, man.
Something that Lesnar said in his book, so I guess Curt kind of mentored him for a little bit while they crossed paths in Minnesota and WWE, was that Curt's advice to him was always, you don't want to be a lifer. Like, you get in this business to get out of it. Get in, get your money, and split. And that was always his advice. Lesnar wrote about that a lot in his book. Like, that's what stuck with him. Like, get in to get out.
Yeah, but they took that out of context. One. About the Brock Lesnar thing, they took it out of context. Curt was replying to the fact that Brock Lesnar was complaining because he didn't like the road. He didn't like being on the road. He didn't like doing things on the road. So they kind of took that a little out of context. Curt was like, well, you don't want to become a lifer. If you don't want to become, and you don't want to be around here, then get your money and get out. And Lesnar didn't listen to him because, Lesnar is, in my opinion, yes, he's a good wrestler, but he'll never, and that's the other thing. People think he mentored Brock Lesnar. No. He worked out with him a couple times, and that's it.
Right.
Go ahead.
Brock did take his advice. He left a few years after, around 2005, 2005-ish, WrestleMania 20, so that'd be 2004. And he didn't come back for nearly 10 years. Because he went to the UFC. Actually, no, he went to the Vikings first. Tried to try out for them. Nearly made.
He tried.
He almost made. And he failed. But he got cut right before the season started, and he went to the UFC and did what he did because he wasn't good. He wasn't good at it. He's just such a natural beast, and he hit really hard, which is why he became UFC champion after 3 fights. So. He didn't know what he was doing still, though. It was kind of like boom, 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 got lucky. It's like, oh, wow, I'm the champion. So it's like, but yeah, I digress. Eventually, the only reason why he came back because he got diverticulitis and nearly died, so he couldn't fight anymore. So that's the only reason why he came back.
So, literally, this is just a little out of context. Like I said, he first of all, he never mentored him. He just worked out with him a couple times. Probably gave him some advice, but the advice was literally also taken out of context. And it was because Lesnar was literally complaining that he doesn't like, because if you listen to Jim Cornette will say, well, Brock Lesnar never liked being on the road. He always wanted to be back in Iowa with his girlfriend who was pregnant with twins. He always wanted to be back in Iowa with her. So he wasn't used to, he didn't like road life. He didn't like being on the road. He didn't like traveling. He didn't like that kind of stuff. He just wanted to be a farm boy back in Iowa. Go ahead.
The fucker moved to Canada, deep in Canada, to the point where he doesn't have a cell phone. The only thing Paul Heyman said that he had to drive to the end of his property to answer like an old school, like one of those like bat phones or whatever they're called. Just pull it out and answer it. At the end of his property. And it's like he doesn't have cell phone, internet, nothing. It's literally just away in some private land in Canada he bought. It's like he literally doesn't like people. Paul, he can't wait to get out. Go ahead.
Right, and that's what you're absolutely correct. Brock Lesnar did not like people. That's why he literally hated being on the road. He hated everything about the road pretty much. And that's why I think a lot of people take that out of context, what Curt was saying, like, don't be a lifer. Because literally he was complaining, I don't want to be on the road. I'd rather be in Iowa, blah, blah, blah. He did go to Minnesota University and he wrestled and he became state champ. That is true. But I think the context of Curt saying, don't become a lifer, get your money and get out. The thing is, Brock never took that to heart. He was bad at wrestling. And that's why, if you actually look up who trained Brock Lesnar, it's not Curt Hennig's name there. It's someone else. So the fact that, it was taken a little out of context, and the mentoring, I don't think he mentored him. He just kind of worked out with him a couple of times. And that's where, the out of context came in. But it just had to, because like I said, Jim Cornette talks about this, where Brock Lesnar was always complaining. So that's why I think Curt was like, well, then don't stay around here, because guess what? You become a lifer, you're gonna have to be on the road all the time. You have to make sacrifices. That's part of the wrestling business.
Yep. Did they go fishing together?
I'm sure they did. All I know is that Curt worked out with him a couple times. Did they go fishing? I don't know. That would be a question for Curt, and unless you have an Ouija board, dear, you can't ask him. I have 2 Ouija boards, so I'm not gonna represent. And trust me, Ouija boards are not evil. 2 of them. So the next one is the one I was talking about. So this is the Nasty Boys Get Ribbed by Mr. Perfect. This goes into a little more detail about the whole Wahoo McDaniels and the fireworks into the hotel room, because they do say by the time it gets back to Virginia, they had burnt down the whole motel, or it was a motel. So apparently when it got back to Virginia, they burned down the whole motel, which wasn't true. But then they also, a lot of things had come up about Ray Stevens. Ray Stevens, he was a nice guy, but he also had, if you get on someone's bad side, obviously, Curt got on that bad side for some reason. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who,
you don't want to say anything?
I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Did you say something? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I heard you say something. My bad, I just hear random things. So, okay. So, share. There we go. Now, this is on the Ric Flair podcast. I don't like it. I don't like Ric Flair. But if he did talk about his match with Curt, the loser leave town match, and I couldn't disagree with the dude more, because he had inconsistencies and I did this because of that and that because of this.
The loser leave town was when Flair left WWF, 93.
Yeah, so he actually watched along to his own match. I saw this on his podcast.
Yeah.
He watched along to his own match and then was like, and didn't really say anything. So I was like, what we really need is from Curt's side of things. I wish we could do that. So, okay, so we're going to get a little more context of what happened with the Wahoo McDaniels and a little bit more into other ribs that Curt had pulled with the Nasty Boys.
You guys got any good Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig stories you could share with us?
Oh my God! Well, Curt was our mentor. He was one of the first guys, Brad Reagan's. We broke in the hard way with Brad Reagan's there with Vern Gagne. Curt was one of the first guys ever. Brad, when we were just for 2 weeks in camp, we met Curt, and Curt took us under his wing and took us up and down the roads of Minnesota and Wisconsin and everywhere he could go to. And did he rib us? Oh my God! One thing, I guess he was mad at Wahoo McDaniel. Wahoo McDaniels and Ray Stevens were the bookers. So Curt gets us so whiskeyed up. He used to call it rainbow stew. Give me a double shot of Jack, and in the shot of Jack, you see there's a Valium floating in there, a Halcyon, a Percocet, and something else. That was rainbow stew. You drink the fucking shot down. There's about 6 pills in there. I'm like, me and Knobs are so fucked up. He goes, all right. Well, we're all the way up in North Dakota, where that big giant guy is or whatever. And we back up to the hotel room. When I blow the horn, you guys, Grand Forks. He goes, when I blow the horn, and me and Knobs are in the back of the of the truck where the glass opens, like a blazer, where the glass was sitting back there like two monkeys drunk off their ass. He goes, Ryan, blow the horn. Whoever opens that door, you start shooting them with fireworks and bottle rockets. Guess who pokes their head out the
What
door?
could possibly go
The
wrong?
door opens, and it's Wahoo and Ray. He had set 250 Roman candles at the 100 shot, lit, ready to go. Somebody banged on Wahoo and Ray's door. Wahoo answers the door. Who is it? He's half-ass drunk. He opens the door, and all of a sudden, 75 Roman candle balls start flying into their room. Their house, the hotel almost started on fire. And what happened out that is the next day he got called in and he got fired. Well, by the time it got back to Vergania, we actually did burn the hotel down. Was the story? They burned the hotel down, and the next thing. I'm the worst out of everything, Rick. The next day we get called in and was like happy. And also they call us in. That we have Wahoo and Ray talking to us and said, "You guys are fired." And Ray Stevens goes to me, "And now when you drink, you act like an asshole." And I'm like going, "This is from Ray Stevens and Wahoo McDaniels, the two biggest assholes we're out there could ever drink and do all kind of crazy shit." And then all of a sudden we look at the window. And there's Curt Hennig in there making faces at us. Curt Hennig was Curt Hennig. No, it was Curt Hennig, Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, Buddy Rhodes, and Jimmy Snuka. They're all outside the window looking in to see if it was all a test. They wanted to see. No, we didn't do it. We blamed on. We sat there. They looked like two puppy dogs that just lost their life. Curt said. Then he's like, "Well, you're fired, and you guys get the hell out of here." And then he sent us home. And then Curt goes, "Why'd you guys do all that?" I go, what are you talking about? You did. You made us do it. And you got us fired. Oh, oh my God. That was just one. And another story is I bought a brand new Sable, and we let Curt drive it, and we're up in the North Dakotas again, and that black ice, and Rick knows about the black ice. Yeah. So this idiot drives on the side of the road, and all the stones are hitting my brand new car. I just bought the damn thing. Boom, 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 boom. So what's that? Curt goes, "Don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere, this, that." And then we're almost at the hotel, so he goes back on the highway, slips on the black ice, we go down in the ditch. Boom. And Curt gets out, pops the trunk, gets his bags, and walks to the hotel. It's right across the street. And there we are, stuck with the car in the ditch in a big pile of snow. And we have to get it out, get a tow truck and everything. And Curt's already in his room sleeping. I mean, that's the kind of friends we had in this business.
Yeah, very expensive.
Yeah, so okay, I'll give it to Angel this time. You tell me your assessment, and like I said, they did give a little more context. I know Brian Knobs will go on to give another updated version of this, where he literally was like, "Oh yeah, it was the 4th of July and blah blah blah," and Curt was, Curt, that Curt was, making faces at them, and he gives a little more context. So go ahead, Angel, from a scale of 1 to 10. Now that you have more context, and of course about the getting the car stuck in the ditch.
Yeah, that car stuck in the ditch. I mean, that black ice is dangerous. I've driven in black ice here in New Jersey, and it's like you don't see it, and then next thing you know, and you're gone. I mean, I put a couple cars in the ditches too myself, so it's like, whoops. But that's, obviously it was just ribbing them somehow. He ended up throwing the car in the, good luck. I'm going to go to sleep in my hotel room. Oh, good luck trying to get your car out of that ditch, by the way. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. And the other one where it's like, that's classic, like we did this. And by the time it gets back to the boss, it becomes so much worse because people, do that. I'm sure you in school everybody played that game where you whisper in one ear and then by the time it gets
Whisper
to
down the
end,
lane.
something,
That's right.
yeah, completely different. So it's like,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, eventually after 3 or 4 people tell the story, they embellish, they add their own thing, and all of a sudden the whole motel burned down. So it's like, I mean, it's like, what the hell? Like, we didn't burn the fucking thing down. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty funny too. Especially, not not surprised that Scott Hall was there and Curt and Shawn Michaels. I didn't know about Shawn Michaels being there, but yeah, I mean, it's
I
just
think that was
hilarious.
in like 86 and 87. So yeah.
It had to be because this is before Shawn and Marty's first run in WWF, where they got fired at less than a month in.
Because like literally they were doing stupid stuff they should have been doing.
Yeah, less than a month they were gone, and then they were back a year later, and that's when Shawn Michaels stayed the rest of his career. But yeah, I mean, it's just pretty funny, It's like, the one in the ditch. I mean, I put cars in ditches, especially with black ice, and it's like, because I've tried I've tried putting on neutral and just pushing it out, but it doesn't work. This is like this is down in the ditch, so it's like I had to call a tow. This is before cell phone, so I had to walk to a payphone, call a tow truck driver, pay $50, and and get it out. It's like $50 back in the 90s is a lot of money. So it's like not today.
It was a lot of money.
Today it's like $150 or $200 to get a car out of a ditch, but that also reminds me of what happened with Undertaker and Godfather. Have you heard this story?
No.
Undertaker tells this story where they were in the Tennessee territory and they were driving from Memphis to somewhere, but Nashville. That's what it was, and it snowed all of a sudden. So it had ice and snow. Undertaker driving like 5 miles an hour down the highway because you see all these cars in ditches because they're all in a ditch. So they're like half an hour or not 10 miles out of Nashville. And Godfather, he calls him Bear. Godfather was like, "Oh, it's my car. I'll drive us in." He's like, "Okay, it's your car." Like a minute or two later, they're going sideways down the highway, and then they're in a ditch, down in the ditch. It's like, and Undertaker's like, "Oh, I'm teetering. I can't get out my side because it's a big cliff, and I fall over and kill myself." He had to go over. He's looking at him, and it's like, I don't want to hear it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like, I told you gonna go down in a ditch. So they had to. A cop happened to be there. It's like, what you guys doing? It was like, we're freezing our asses off, officer. It's like, oh, there's a hotel or motel down there. We'll take you there. And he was, and Undertaker trying to get in. They left it there. Undertaker was hiding in the front seat, and the cop's like, oh no, you got to get in the back. So it was him. It was Godfather, Tracy Smothers, and Dirty White Girl. Forget her name, but they all ended up in the back seat like this, because they're so big, all of them. And Undertaker's 300 pounds, Godfather 280, and Dirty White Boy was like Tracy Smothers like 250 or something. So they're all like kind of like this, and you get to the motel. Godfather somehow comes up with the money because they're all broke. They're working in Tennessee, barely making any money. And they got the car out of the ditch, get into Nashville, take a shower, get dressed, and go back out on the road. They barely had time to even do anything. So that's the story, But
wow.
Undertaker tells it on Steve Austin's podcast. So it's like, if you would look that up.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he tells it in a much more funnier way than I did.
Matt, what did you think?
Well, what crossed my mind seeing the Nasty Boys again is I wonder if they were the original inspiration for Beavis and Butthead. they look like it. Yeah, I think the fireworks thing's hilarious. The black ice I have no experience with in California, but I know that's how Cliff Burton from Metallica died. So, yeah, it's nothing to mess around with. But, I mean, it's funny. Probably from Kurt's perspective. Go back to sleep and sleep to deal with it. So
Curt would be like, "What? I didn't do nothing. What are you talking about? In the ditch."
They got the car out of the ditch, and by the time back to the motel or hotel, Curt sleep already. So like, what?
And isn't it funny? The ones that get mad
Yeah,
are always the ones that are
already.
the worst ones about it.
I mean, he, like I said, he always did it not out of malice, but he did it out of, just having fun. So this next one is literally one of my favorites because it literally has Curt not blowing up a car. I think that's a little insinuous, but he actually, what happens is he throws a match on the car and the car goes, boom. So just like I said, it goes to show that Curt was somewhere laughing it out and then decided to do something funnier. So this is Pat Tanaka. He was actually a part of the Orient Express, if anyone remembers them. Now he was in the AWA with Curt and Vern Gagne and everything, Nick Bockwinkel. And then eventually him and I don't even know who I remember them at, I believe it was Royal Rumble 1991 because they were against the Rockers. So it was him and another guy who would actually be tag teaming against and Mr. Fuji of course was their manager in 91.
Fuji was a master ribber too.
Oh my God, was he a master ribber? And I think that Curt learned his stuff from Fuji. I think it's a combination of Curt's dad and Fuji. All right, so here we go.
Initial impressions of Vern Gagne.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best times of my life too there. I mean, we ribbed them so bad. I did a job with him. Really was. I mean, the best rib in the world was on Vern.
Tell us about it.
Well, what had happened was we got into this thing where we put locks on everything, on the briefcases, on doors, and then we started putting it on car doors. You know how you used to have to put your hand in there and push the thing and then pull out your door. No. Well, we put the locks on the door, on the what do you call it, the front hood thing with the emblem of the car. And so if you're driving down the road, you hear it, and it just bent your car to hell, right? So anyway, it just got out of hand where they were locking bags to lockers and locking, guys in the bathroom with the locks.
That will come into play later when we hear Marty Jannetty's story, how Curt locked his bags to a drawer. Okay, so that will come into play. But yeah, like literally because they not so much AWA, but like the territories in general would usually do like high schools. So like for example, they would be doing like in high school gyms and stuff. So they would take the lock off the lockers and end up ribbing each other with it. So I'm gonna continue with that.
It just got crazy. So Vern had a meeting and he came in, he goes, "That's it, guys. I'm closing down the territory." He goes, "One more fucking day. I'm closing this fucking place down." And we're going, okay. And he goes, and then it was a better time because Bockwinkel. And he used to wear those Porsche glasses. Someone put a fucking lock on the fucking glasses, and he came out screaming, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like this. And Vern fucking just turns fucking red and grabs his fucking, he goes, "Fuck you guys, you're all fucking fired." Which grabbed his briefcase and was locked to the fucking desk. And he's trying to drag the desk out the fucking room, and we could not control ourselves. We were laughing so fucking hard. It was just the best rib we have ever seen. I tell you, man, those were the days. I mean, when you could do that shit.
Speaking of ribs, you talked about him earlier because his father was Larry the Axe. Curt Hennig is known in the business to be like the ultimate ribber.
That guy was a genius at ribs. I mean, he could do. I mean, oh my God, there were so many times I killed him because it's so good. I mean, the best time he got us right, I said, "I'm getting Curt tonight."
I advise against this.
I would think I got him good. What we did was we broke off the toothpicks in his locks and his rent-a-car out of town. We were like, way up Sheboygan or something like that.
Right.
And it was like far, nice trip, right? So anyway, we went to this place called Sheboygan and broke off the toothpicks in his lock so he couldn't get in the car. So anyway, we got him good, and and they said, "Oh, okay." So we go to get in the fucking car after TV, and it's like, holy shit, man! It's like midnight, and it's a baseball field we parked on, and it's pitch black. So I get in the car and start the car, and I turn on the lights. Man, I was going, what the fuck is going on, man? I can't see shit out. I even turn on the lights. We got out, and the motherfucker painted my lights black. Wow. And I go, oh my God, man. So anyway, we're trying to scrape off the paint, right? And I finally get off the paint off the fucking headlights. So all of a sudden, man, we get all the paint off the headlights and everything, and then we're going, what the fuck is going on? The window, And we're trying to figure out why is the window all blurry and everything, right? And I go out there and I turn on the windshield wipers, and it's fucking motor oil. He had poured all down and perfectly. So all you see was like, you thought you were on acid or something looking out the window. So when you did the windshield wiper, it got worse. Then you turn on the windshield wiper with the water sprayer, and then it gets even fucking worse. And we're like, oh my God. So I get this bright idea. I got gas can in the back.
Yeah,
so I pour gas over the oil to get it off the fucking. He drives by and fucking throws a match on the fucking car. Fucking out the flames. And we're going, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. It was just fucking crazy. I mean, shit like that, you just can't fucking know.
Did you get Hennig back for that?
No, I don't fuck with Hennig after that. You don't want to fuck with him. He'll get you 10 times for it, whatever you do.
Yeah, so whatever you do, so this was one of my favorites, and I will explain why. First of all, who gets the bright idea to get rid of motor oil with gasoline? I mean, this is like, I'm thinking, as soon as he said that, I went, yeah, genius. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, we'll go back to Matt. Matt, your thoughts?
No, that was funny all around. Toothpicks and motor oil, especially at night. I'm sure that had to be really annoying. I remember at Staples, people used to saran wrap their cars, and that was a pain. So I can't even imagine what it took to get that off.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said. Because they were, Curt was going to get him back, right? So he's probably somewhere laughing it up, thinking these dumbasses are literally going to put gasoline on motor oil. Yeah, that'll work. And then he throws a match and goes, boom.
I could just see him hiding in a tree waiting for him to do that.
Yes. He was somewhere laughing it up, watching these two monkeys trying to get this paint off the car. Plus the motor oil, which made it even worse by putting gasoline on it. Go ahead, Angel.
Painting the headlights, like
that's right. Black.
Why is this like that? I can't see anything. And look, fucking paint. Shit's painted. That takes them forever, I'm sure, to scrape it off. With I'm assuming, and not with ice scrapers. Because, if they're in Minnesota, I mean, they definitely have ice scrapers in the car. So, but the whole gas thing on motor oil is like, dude, it just use degreaser. I mean, and then that'll come out. But yeah, gasoline, that's a good idea. Just set yourself up for another rib, like, there you go. He just set himself up again. If Curt was around in the area, so it was like, oh, gasoline, that'll work. Oh, it's on fire.
Great idea. Yeah, it's on fire. Great idea. Your car's on fire.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. That was hilarious.
That was one of my favorites when I first heard it. But it says deceptively, Curt Hennig blew up my car. Well, I didn't blow it up. You just got to throw a match on it. Boom. Because, if you get the bright idea, the gasoline is flammable. Well, maybe he wasn't thinking straight. It was midnight. He probably was tired. But yeah, that was one of my favorites when I first heard it. And I actually laughed so hard, I was crying. because it was just so. It literally was just so. I mean, I could see. The thing is, we could see Curt doing it. Like, we can imagine that Curt would be doing this, and it's just sorry. So yeah, like you can imagine this happening in real time, and it has happened in real time. So
yeah.
But yeah, like that's the one of the ones that I said, like Curt was somewhere laughing it up, but one, damn, these guys are stupid. Because I mean, like literally, like I said, he didn't do this out of malice. He did it to have fun. But I mean, it's like if you get him, you're gonna get it 10 times worse. And this was the worst. There will be one later with Shane Douglas, and we'll talk about that. But I have the updated version because again, Shane Douglas answered my email and started talking about that, and then another rib that they think Curt was responsible for. I think it was more Marty Jannetty that had something to do with that. So, so this one is Scott Norton. So apparently, someone had done an interview with Scott Norton on his favorite ribs, and he talks about when he was out somewhere with someone, and I'm going to try to start it in the middle because. I mean, that rib is kind of someone else had done it to him. But the Curt story, oh my God. Curt is a freaking genius, is all I can say about this because he's just a freaking genius. And the way Scott tells it, because this is around the time where the Ultimate Warrior was in WCW. Okay. So the Ultimate Warrior had come back and the NWO was supposed to be under the ring and they would come up and grab the Warrior. So I will let Scott Norton take it away as soon as he's done telling this other rib story.
I'm like, yeah. What the hell? Stop. And, they made them draw their guns on me. I'm going, my buddies, they locked me out. They see the bed. What are you doing?
That's great.
And all of a sudden they said, hey, Scott, what are you doing? You sleepwalking again? You took your bed out to the parking lot? I just grabbed a cot and I said, I'm going to kill this son of a bitch. And I got back in there. I was frostbite all 9 yards. I don't know if you ever heard the one.
No, definitely.
The best of all time. Ultimate Warrior coming in WCW. The NWO had to hide underneath the ring.
Took a shit under the ring or something like that.
Yeah, so much. He went and got a bunch of hard-boiled eggs, butter, and took X-Lax. There's me, Brian Adams, Stevie Ray, all the guys, bang, all of us. Stuffed under this ring, and all of a sudden Curt gets the phone. He goes, I gotta take a shit. And like clockwork, before he even hung the phone up, a 5-gallon bucket goes, some guy's arms from a 5-gallon bucket. I says, Curt, I'll kill you if you do this.
Right.
The door's like, I gotta do it. I'm going, come on, Curt. So I got my head stuffed in this thing, all the noises and everything. And he's done, right? I look up and it just explodes out of his ass. It goes everywhere. And I just, then he knocks the bucket over. And I just vomit. So anyways, he gets it cleaned up. We're just all like a bunch of kids hiding in the corner because we're all squished away from it. So we said, when the thing goes secure, we're supposed to go out and Ultimate Warrior's ass. I said, let's get Curt. He had it set up. As soon as we come flying out there, Curt's running right for the nitro sign where you come out.
Right.
And Stephen Lincoln had his car parked there for him. He walked in and you're I go ahead. Next day I had to go to Japan.
No revenge.
Never got a hold of him.
Ultimate Warrior, what was he like?
Okay. We're not gonna listen to the Ultimate Warrior story. Obviously not a lot of people liked Warrior, and for good reason. So this is a shit one. A shitty one. Okay. We'll start with you, Angel. What did you think about this one?
I've heard this one before. I think I may have seen that clip or Scott Norton talking about it before in some other clip. But I mean, That's gross. I mean, it's like it reminds me of something that happened to me with, somebody pranked me again when I was in college. A mark or something, I don't know, but somebody snuck in laxatives in my drink, and I'm like,
Oh
really?
no. Oh no.
And I was like, really? I knew immediately because I had no reason to have stomach aches or about to shit myself. Like, really? Like, who did it? It was like, again, same bullshit. It's like, okay. I spent most of the time in the bathroom, so this is
Oh
gross, but
no.
it's as soon as I try to get my pants down, it goes like that all over the toilet and all over the wall.
It explodes out your ass.
Yeah. It explodes out of my ass, and it's like before I can even sit down. So it's like, and then I had to clean it up because it's not really my place. So it's like, okay, fine, I'll clean it up, But I didn't do it. I did it, but it wasn't my fault, So it's like, but yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, it's just. Now, it's still Curt knew they want to try to get him, so he's like, "Yeah, I'm running
I'm
towards
out
my
of
car,
here. Bye.
instantly." And then Scott Norton had to go to Japan, so he could never get him back again. So it was like,
Right.
this is perfectly done, So
Well, hey, he was Mr. Perfect, right?
Mhm.
Matt, your thoughts?
Oh, that's disgusting. But couldn't get a better revenge than that. Reminds you of something that Doink the Clown should do, or something you'd see in Dumb and Dumber or something.
Or Jackass, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't expect to see it in wrestling, right?
No.
When I first saw this, I have to admit that I was kind of like, really? Like, I didn't know. Now, what's his name? Dutch Mantel will talk about this. Why Curt got kicked out of Puerto Rico for sort of the same reason. But in his defense, I mean, he had a spot. He couldn't just, if he had to go to the bathroom, you can't just get out from under the ring because everyone's like, oh, somebody under the ring, that kind of thing. I don't know if I had that one or not. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Yeah, I do. So, but I'll let Dutch tell it because he's much better than I am. But, but yeah, like for example, you had literally people who you had to do a spot. Okay, so the fact that you were huddled under the ring. Okay, you're under the ring, and Curt takes Butterfingers, X-Lax, and what was the Butterfingers, hard-boiled eggs, and X-Lax. He's genius. It's genius. But then he's like, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta take a shit. And like I said, someone hands him the 5-gallon bucket, and he takes a shit. And basically, and did you hear the bucket fell over?
He knocked the bucket over.
He knocked the bucket over by accident, or probably on purpose. And then Scott Norton just goes, ugh. I bet a lot of those guys were like hurling under there because the smell had to be absolutely horrendous.
They were supposed to attack Warrior, and instead he's like, "Oh, let's just get Curt."
Get Curt. And to be honest, I mean, it was brilliant. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, it was brilliant for people who you have to understand, like they literally could not leave the bottom of the ring. I think that's the biggest emphasis I wanted to put on this is like, and Dutch Mantel will talk about this very eloquently, that he had a spot in Puerto Rico. He could not leave that underground. Because, I mean, once you go, I mean, people see you and like, someone under the ring. So it makes it even tougher.
I hope you're not hearing these motorcycles.
Inside?
Really? I hope you're not hearing that motorcycles and stuff.
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, good, because it's really loud.
No, I don't hear a thing.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, then.
No, I don't.
Okay. So
they're pranking you.
Ripping
really
you.
loud, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah, they are.
I just think the sheer genius of, I mean, because they were at his mercy because they can't leave the bottom of the ring.
Yeah.
They had a spot they had to do. So they're all huddled in the corner going, and then of course Dean Malenko worked with Curt to get his car there, and Curt knew he was going to get hurt, so this one is you need a quick getaway, because they knew that they could not leave the bottom of that ring because it would spoil the spot. And it's called keeping kayfabe with that. So
yeah,
this was also one of my favorites. When I first saw this, I was like, damn, what the hell? That's awesome. I mean, if I were there with him, I'd probably be rolling on the floor laughing because that is awesome. I love it. So this next one is the hardest partiers, and Curt's name is mentioned. I'm just gonna play this briefly because I think this is more like who would be like left standing at the bar, or like if you tried to leave and go to bed, they'd be like, dude, where you going? Piper is also in this. I think Marty Jannetty is also in this. So like a few names were mentioned. This is Jerry Saggs, and this is how he looks now. I mean, it's like culture shock, but it is literally like what he looks like now. So it just a little shock because
at the bar, drinking wise, not fighting wise.
that's what Saggs looks like now.
That could be a number, depending who you went out with, but it could be definitely on the top of that paper. Behind him would be Hawk, because Hawk just didn't sleep. Ric Flair. If Curt Hennig was out, Sean or Marty were with us.
That's a pretty good list.
That would probably be the top of the guys I was around. That would be, it wasn't ending until they said it was over. And back in the day, in our age, our era, you gave her until over because that's respect. If Hawk said we're staying up for 4 days, we were staying up for 4 days. If Rick said we're drinking till the sun comes up, you drank with Flair till the sun comes up. And whatever Roddy said, you fucking did what Roddy said. To see a round table with 12 guys or 10 guys in the room, in Roddy's room, suite, and what was on that table, and the talks at that table, and the only place you go to was the bathroom. Heaven forbid you try to head for that door. You don't leave. When Roddy was running it, you did what Roddy said. And you stayed until Roddy said it was over. Or do you be a lot of you know what to pay if you decided, hey, I'm going to bed now. You didn't want to do that.
Repercussions.
Yes,
you get him.
Yeah, that's the word.
Who was the doorman? Like for these like little get-togethers with Roddy, was there like someone hanging on the door?
No, you didn't need nobody. All Roddy would do is pop up out of his seat and give you a look. But you knew better. We were brought up by Curt, so we knew you didn't do that. You know what I mean? When the guys that you respected, Jimmy Snuka, forgot him.
God.
Brada said,
Brada,
you're not going anywhere.
Where?
You didn't go nowhere. You didn't go anywhere. Especially when his hair was fizzed out to here. And all he was wearing was tiger striped underwear. He looked like Tarzan or something with his eyes bulging out. I didn't move an inch.
Yeah, brother. It wasn't as much as a rib story as it was, you didn't leave until certain other people left. So thoughts on this real fast, and then we'll move on to the next one. Angel, you start.
Drinking. I mean, I'm pretty good at that, but yeah, I mean, I was usually one of the last ones up. I mean, when it comes to college, so it was like, but eventually, I was like, I mean, I was pretty good at it because my father was an alcoholic, so it was kind of something that connected me to him, unfortunately. So, but I'm not going to get into much of that. But yeah, I mean, I was a pretty good drinker, so a lot of people would just sleep, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess everybody sleeps, so let me go to sleep myself. So I went, but yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that being on the road and you have to do something, drink, it's like the edge off. So yeah, I'm not surprised that Curt Hennig be listed there in one of the top 5 or 10 that would end up on top there. Undertaker's another one I would mention too, because he would drink that Jack all day long, all night long. And he told the story about him and who was it? What was that band? Motley Crue, or I forget what it was, but anyways, he partied with them. Who?
Pearl
What did you
Jam?
say? Something.
Pearl
It was
Jam?
Motley Crue, Pearl Jam. It was some kind of band that happened to be in the same town that WWF was. And it was like, oh, come on, man, come drink with us. So it was like, all right, you guys asked for it. So they party all night. They all went to sleep. It was him, Taker, and X-Pac. And X-Pac was asleep. He did this. All right, we're done. Let's go. So they went to their hotel room, went to sleep, and he woke up the next morning still drunk. Taker. It's like, ugh. And I've done that. That's happened to me a few times. I wake up, I'm still drunk. It's like, ugh, okay. In the shower, get out of the shower, puke in the toilet, go back in the shower, try to sober up and go to class. It was like, ugh. But yeah, that was my college life. I didn't finish college, but that was basically what I did.
Matt.
Yeah, I didn't hear him mention Andre the Giant, and that must have been a little bit after his time, probably, or.
Yeah.
Well, Andre being WWF by that point, so I'm not sure if you met him.
Yeah, so.
Right, okay.
Well, and I mean, everyone knows that. I think even Curt hung out with Andre and partied with Andre, so everyone knows that Andre could drink heavily. Bret Hart talks about in his book where Andre would, when they were over in Japan, he had to take up like 2 or 3 seats, and there was only like one little seat, one little space. And him and Curt were racing to get to the last one in the back of the bus. And he says he must have been Mr. Perfect because he always got that seat. And Bret had to sit next to Andre all sweaty and, it was hot. And yeah, so this one is literally my email to Conan, Disco Inferno, and Shane Helms is the other guy I could think of. So they all have a podcast together, and I asked them, and it's kind of funny because Disco goes, "Gee, I didn't know a girl would like Curt Hennig. Gee, what, a girl can't like Curt Hennig?" It's like some big shocker there. So this is my email to them.
This is day 2 of the mailbag. Mr. Perfect is perfect, and the subject is Curt Hennig. Conan and Disco. Disco, I love the match with you and Curt on December 22nd, 1997, as I'm a huge Curt Hennig fan. I love hearing about his ribs. I love watching his wrestling. You remember that match? Was he cracking jokes to some laughing before the match started? I have a joke that came to mind when I watched LOL. Conan, I love when you guys did the West Texas Rednecks against rap groups like Master P. What is your favorite memory from Curt and the West Texas Rednecks? What did you think of Curt getting on the stage with Chad Brock? I have a podcast about Curt called "Curt Hennig Was the Best." Changed my mind. Chad Brock, the remember the country music guy. I would love it if you check it out. Also, can you both tell me what was the greatest rib he ever pulled on both you and Disco? That's Stephanie from Lancaster County. I was a girl. Big Mr. Perfect was interesting. The best rib he never pulled any ribs on me and Conan, but he did the rib he pulled on was on Kidman. Was he stole Kidman's blue jeans, his blue jean shorts? So Kidman had to go to the get some black jeans and cut them up and go out there with black jeans on. But the funniest thing is Curt was going like, he's the one that did it. And he was going to go right, hey guys, we got to find Kidman shorts. Like he was like the one like leading the search for the shorts, and he's the one that took them. That was hysterical.
Right. Plus, he also handcuffed Dave Penzer's suitcase to the roof.
Right. My match with Curt Hennig was I don't know what they were doing, but I just won the TV title, and they booked me to do a job against Curt, who was the United States Heavyweight Champion. I didn't understand what the purpose of that was, but
he had actually just lost the belt to Paige at Starrcade.
Was that what it was? Because this was a non-title. They booked me a non-title match with Curt. It was like I don't know.
Yeah, they were giving him a win back.
Because here was the thing.
Without you losing the title.
Right. Yeah. But I think the thing is that because like Terry Taylor kind of like booked me to win the title because I was supposed to do the job to Jackie coming up. I think they kind of got a hold of that, and were kind of still wanted to make me look bad out.
You know what I think it was? This is what I think it was. You had good heat back then, so he was going to beat somebody with heat without taking the title. That's what I think. Yeah.
How was the head? Well, the rest. What did you think about the West Texas Rednecks? That was
Bro. First of all, Curt Hennig was introduced to me by Scott Hall the first time by a guy called Love Machine because they both worked in Portland. So I'd actually met him in WWE before. But I loved him. One night we were in Vegas with his dad, Larry the Axe Hennig. Remember him?
Yes.
Bro, people should see this guy. He was a humongous guy, looked like a lumberjack type guy, and was very in the ring, just very physical.
Yeah, I took a shot from him. He punched me at ringside.
Did he?
It was hysterical. It was like we did there. Go over. That is because they were Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. I didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't.
And you know what was weird about that?
Right.
Just sorry, real quick. Jesse Ventura was there right next to Larry, another Minnesota guy. He hadn't become governor yet, and him and Bischoff had issues because Eric fired him. So you could see Jesse on the camera, but he was never acknowledged by the announcers.
Really?
But, yeah. Little useless fact.
So that's a cool fact. I didn't know it. Anyways, there were a couple girls there, like in the mix, hanging now. And bro, he was just, and I'm not kidding, Glenn. He was just throwing it, hitting. Went to the blackjack table, which, as you know, is my favorite. And he was doing really wild, like hitting on 17 and not going over.
Right.
I mean, it was ridiculous. This guy, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, right. He was perfect, bro. He was, and the whole time laughing, drinking, having a good time.
He used to like shots at Jack Daniels.
He was always
a shot at Jack. Yeah.
He was always in a good mood. And he didn't really like at first the redneck idea, the Texas whatever.
Yeah, but he's getting over. So he liked.
And I told him, and I remember telling him in the locker room once, I go, bro, let's just make this work and have fun getting in the dumps. You're Curt Hennig. Let's make this work. It ups our stocks. And like we got on board and we had a great time every night.
Okay, so yeah. So this is I just wanted to emphasize that this is my email that they talked about. I don't know if anyone heard at the beginning there because it was kind of like muffled or kind of like anyway, he says I think it's kind of funny that a girl would like Curt Hennig. Yeah. What I said in there was like basically that if you watch that match, and that's going to be one of our episodes here. So episode 55, which was last week. Remember, we're doing this in the future. So last week was 55, and we watched the match with the NWO taking over Nitro, and of course the Disco Inferno and Curt Hennig match. So this, I think he gets a little confused there. He did mention Starrcade that Curt would end up losing the belt to Paige. He had the TV belt, but they were never going to give that belt to Jackie. But that was back at Halloween Havoc. So he's kind of a little confused there, a little messed up on the timeline there because the Jackie was a Halloween Havoc. So yeah, he did have the TV title, and they never gave that belt to Jackie, even though she pinned him. And then eventually he would go on to, meet Curt at that Nitro when the NWO takes over. So, and it just looked like if you watch, Curt just kind of laughs about something. And I said, a joke that came to mind was ring ring, hello, okay, hey disco, the 70s called, they want their gimmick back. It just popped in my head one day. That joke just popped in my head. I mean, because it was the 90s, it wasn't the 70s anymore. I'm like, disco, you do know the 70s died. I mean, the disco died in the 70s. It didn't die in the 90s. Okay, this is in the 90s we're talking about. But overall, I wanted to show or emphasize he took Kidman's shorts and then was like, hey guys, we gotta find his shorts. I mean, he's the one who took them. And like I said, they talk about, well, he handcuffed Dave Penzer's briefcase to the ceiling. You're 257. How the hell did you get up there? Would be my first inquiry. But how did everyone else think about that and about my email? Matt, we'll start with you.
Well, it's awesome they read your email. That reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne. One night he was really trashed and they were having a march out in front of his concert. So he joined them and they were looking for Ozzy, and yeah, something similar. So that's good stuff. I gotta love that. I love the West Texas Rednecks. That was
I did too.
Yeah. So.
And I will be singing it. I just couldn't find a karaoke version, as I said. So I'll have to sing it with Curt in a little bit of a higher octave. Octave.
Octane with the oil and the gas.
Yeah. Maybe we should put gas on motor oil and see what happens, especially when you throw a batch on it. Angel, your advice or your opinions?
Well, I do remember that night because I saw Kidman in black shorts, and he never wore black shorts. So I was like, what happened to his other shorts? And I didn't know until now that Curt stole his shorts, and he had to find some black pants and cut them down and make it shorts, which is weird. Like, why is he wearing black shorts? Okay, whatever. I didn't think much of it until now, but yeah, I mean, it's just hilarious. It was like, oh yeah, I stole your shorts. Just find them, Good luck trying to find them, dude. I don't know where they're at. But yeah, it's just another great.
Reiterating, him literally hiding in plain sight when he's the one who took them. And like I said, the Dave Penzer thing. How did you get up there? You're 257.
Wasn't he a referee in WCW?
Yes. Dave Penzer. Yeah, he was a referee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally like, how did you get up there? I didn't think anyone that big could get up there, but okay. I mean, because like I said, Curt was not a small guy. He was like 257 through much of his career, and then in WCW he would actually bulk up a little bit because he started working out a lot more. And then by the time he got to TNA and stuff, I mean, he was pretty built. He was pretty up there, 290 something, 280, 290. So, and that was all muscle. So this next one, I've only seen like one time, and I don't really remember. They may go over the Roman candles again. I'm not sure, but this one actually says how Mr. Perfect and Jimmy Snuka got us fired. So I don't know how Jimmy Snuka actually, fits in there, but all right, here we go. This is the next
Here guy with curly lock, like it's Curt with a jean jacket on and Brad strutting down, and they walk down and they, hey, how are you guys doing? I remember the first day that we met Curt, and then from then on, it was us with Curt, and Curt would pick us up to go to the shows, and he would get us in all kind of trouble, get us hired and fired, and get us or whatever.
That's why we got fired. We almost burned down a hotel.
And then soon after that,
Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Believe it or not,
and that was us. He stirred it all up, but we were there. So who's gonna get blamed? Us. Just like when Jimmy Snuka stayed with us, and our thing was to get Jimmy where to go and on time. So interviews were at 9:00, and Jimmy's passed out. I mean, he's out, and I'm like, well, I'm
waking him up. You know, we're from Allentown. We heard all the stories about what happened, so we're scared shitless. We're just waiting to maybe get somebody. Said, Jimmy, we gotta go. So we 2 hours late. We get there at 11.
Oh, nice friendly shake. Jimmy goes, brother, we don't gotta go nowhere.
Brother,
we're gonna sit down. Yeah. I go. I got a little buckle. You know, I see. He rolled a big tube. I'm like, no, we can't do that. And then we got to go watch interviews. We're going to be late. And sit down. And when Jimmy says something, you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So he got us stoned off our fucking blazing mind. We come in 2 hours late with Jimmy. Jimmy walks in right by Greg Gagne and goes, lovely brother. Greg Gagne don't say a word to Jimmy. But there's me and Knobs against the wall. I told you to have him here at 9 a.m. And then he could yell at us. We're like, we're sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now it comes, we go and fucking run and hide. Because we had to be there to watch interviews to learn. Late there. And now it comes time. And we know that he's as stoned as we are because he got us wasted. And then now he's listening to Jimmy's interview. And when the moon comes high and all this crazy stuff, and me and I was about going, we're at his level. Right. We're wasted back there hiding. Now we're going, Jimmy,
and the other time
tell him.
The other time we got fired when we almost burned down the hotel. And that wasn't our deal either, but we shot fireworks off in the outside hotel. It was at Grand Forks. And we banged on Ray Stevens and Wahoo's room, who are the bookers. And Wahoo goes, who is it? Opens the door, and all of a sudden, zoom, Roman candles come in the room.
Kurt had a blazer, and in the back where the tailgate is, he put me in Knobs, so they could only see us with all the fireworks.
Right.
He backs up like 20 feet from the door. He goes, light them. And he started blowing the horn and thing. And wow, what is going on out there? All of a sudden, and he said, bitches. And we get called in. First thing in the morning, the girl, Kathy from the office, Ray and Wahoo and Byrne would like to speak with you.
Two of the craziest wrestlers ever.
Yeah, you come to the office immediately. We're like, oh no, we're young, we don't,
Right.
And now we're sitting right here, and Ray and Wahoo are there, and Ray goes, and now we look up. And back there's a window in the office, and I'm looking over their head, but looking outside the windows. Jimmy, Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, and Curt Hennig going like this, and we're in there like this. He goes, we look like two puppy dogs. And they're like, Ray's going, you two get drunk and act like assholes. And I don't know what their problem is, but that somebody's eye could have got knocked out. Those fireworks were like, me and Knobs were sitting there looking at each other, but we looked like two dogs that just lost their home.
Right.
You know what I mean? He goes, now you're fired. And we,
wow. You're fired.
And then they're out there watching us. What do they think they do? We're young, but we can't say nothing about it.
They were the craziest bastards in the wrestling business back in the day and everything. Wahoo was crazy son of a bitch.
But it was all Curt.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Were we going to say we didn't do it and say to try to save our jobs? Everything was a test.
Right.
To see what you do. We wouldn't say shit, rat, stooge, nothing. We took the heat, and then Curt would let us sit home for a week and call up. Man, what are you guys going to do? Like, well, I don't know. Our business is growing. We know we were pacing around, and he'd call up every day and fucking rip us.
Okay. Angel, you first. What do you think about the Jimmy Snuka part? And then, of course, at the end, they give a little more information. Again, this is all updated, of course. They give a little more information that literally Curt would rib them and call them up. What are you guys going to do?
Yeah, brother, but I don't have to go anywhere, brother. I'm going to stay here and sleep or whatever. And then he shows, because he knows he's not going to yell that. he's Superfly Jimmy Snuka, one of the biggest stars in the business.
Right.
And he comes in, hey brother, how you doing, Greg? And I'm like, oh, fuck you guys, you should have got him here at 9 a.m. It's like, what? It was his fault. It was Jimmy's fault. Like,
he was that wacky weed.
Yeah. He's like, brother, we're not going anywhere, brother. But yeah, I mean, they were scared of him because they heard the rumors of Nancy Argentino and stuff. They didn't want to wake him, It's like, but he kills us too, So it's like, yeah, I don't blame him. You're greenhorns, you're rookies, You don't want to piss off someone like the Superfly. But yeah, I mean, going back to Curt, I mean, it's like everybody tends to blame Curt, especially when he was around for ribs. He goes, oh yeah, it's his fault. We didn't do it. I mean, he put us up to it.
So I just want to say really quick before we get to you, Matt, that yes, the Nasty Boys are actually from Allentown. I didn't know this until I actually looked up wrestlers from PA. So Allentown from me is like literally 2.5 hours north of us, northeast. So from where I am. So yeah, I knew that they were from Allentown, PA. But I didn't know that until I actually looked it up. Okay, Matt, what did you think about this?
Well, I love that they're in the back laughing at Jimmy Snuka's interview. You tell them that's great.
Hey, we finally understood what he meant.
Yeah, that figures a lot because some of those interviews are really out there. So, but it's cool that they didn't blame anyone else and just took it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they would do. They would test you to make sure that you wouldn't stooge them to the office, and the Nasty Boys were not all about that. And like I said, they wanted to make sure that you were part of them. You were part of their group and their club.
Yeah.
All the wrestlers did that. It's sort of like hazing, yes. And then of course Curt would add the coup de grace of what are you guys gonna do? Curt, you're the one who got fired. So this next one is Barry Darsow, and we'll have two of Barry Darsow. Of course, this would come out like right after I got my show all together, did a Ultimate Rib did a rib collection. And of course, this one would come out, a couple of weeks later. So this is Barry Darsow. Why you don't fuck with Curt Hennig? Because it's not something you want to do. Here we go.
The most memorable thing you saw happen on an aeroplane?
Oh boy.
The most memorable thing. Okay, we were all on a plane. The whole crew, and everybody's got their aisle seats or their window seats, and usually the minute you get on the plane, because nobody slept, everybody's out cold. Well, Curt Hennig was in first class, and he looked at me and he kind of gave me the smile, and I thought, okay, what's Curt going to do? Well, there was this flight attendant that was she'd walk through and she'd hit everybody, wake everybody up, and just a miserable flight attendant. So she must have did something to Curt up in first class. So Curt goes up into the bin up there, and he gets this little bottle, and it was called Morning Breeze, and it smelled like poop. So this flight attendant walked up through first class, and Curt takes that bottle, and you can. I'm watching him up there, and Curt takes and shoots a bunch of it on the back of her. And you can't smell it right away. It takes 2, 3, 4 minutes to kick in. Puts the bottom cap back on there, goes up and puts it away, and goes back down. All of a sudden, this lady starts walking down the aisle, and it smells like she shit her pants. And you could smell it through the whole plane. And all the guys are waking up now, and they're smelling this stuff. And you could see Curt looking back like this, smiling, Everybody knew it was Curt. And this lady was so embarrassed, and she was trying to find out who did it, and nobody was finding. But it was bad. The whole plane smelled like somebody pooped all over the plane. That was pretty good.
Is that surely not like just a rip on everybody? Now the entire plane smells of shit.
Well, it was, and that was Curt, but him doing it to the lady got her back, so everybody was all excited. So it wasn't, against the guys now, but Curt was good at some ribs.
You
They're the
think?
best ribbers. I mean, if there's like an Olympics of wrestling ribbers, who takes bronze, silver, and gold?
Fuji would probably be number one. Curt would be number two, I would think, and then Davy Boy and the British Bulldogs would be three.
Any examples? Oh, you've already given us one with Curt, but any examples of Fuji and the Bulldogs?
I heard one where Fuji, he got upset one day, and I don't know exactly who it is. I can't remember who it was, but he ended up driving their car in their pool.
Whoops!
And the car sunk down to the bottom of the pool. That was one rib he had.
Like a Keith Moon kind of affair.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
Unbelievable. Fuji had some pretty brutal ribs.
As I say, I used to do a podcast with Don Morocco. So I think we just spent half an hour
talking about food. Don Morocco was a great guy too.
Yeah, absolutely is. I spoke to him fairly recently. I wish I would have let him know that I was having both of you on. I would have, if nothing else, just got a question from him or something like that. If not, he probably would have jumped on and said hello. Bulldogs then.
Well, I think it was the Bulldogs. I don't know whose bag it was, but they chained with a big, thick chain their bag to a chair. And so they're in the ring, and we had to rush off to go to the next town. And I can't remember who, but they were coming to the plane and had the chain and the chair and their bag. That was the only way to get to the plane because they didn't have time to cut the chain off or anything. And everybody's in the plane looking at it. Well, what the hell's going on? And it was the Bulldogs.
Did they actually let him on the plane with the chair?
Yeah, they had to throw it in the baggage. Yeah.
How did it actually fit?
Okay, so we'll start with you, Angel. We'll start with you, Matt. Matt, you tell me why you don't fuck with Curt Hennig. I mean, but who does that? Like, what flight attendant wakes up and goes, I'm going to fuck with all wrestlers, and I'm just going to keep waking them up and stuff? I mean, that's like, you literally are going to get ribbed anyway. But give me your assessment on the Curt putting this stuff that smells like poo on the lady's back.
Yeah, that's just asking for it from anyone. I'm sure everyone was glad that he was picking on her and not them, though. So that had to be a good thing. That's hilarious. And God, to think that he would smell that too, just to get somebody, shows how much of a prankster he was. That's great.
The whole
driving a car into driving a car into a pool is pretty extreme too.
That was Mr. Fuji. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what do you think about the car going into the pool with Mr. Fuji?
Well, he must have been really upset with somebody because that's pretty extreme. But you gotta know who not to prank, man. I don't get why he didn't just cut the bag when it got chained up, though. I would have just cut the bag. The strap.
Oh, you mean the handle there? The handle to the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that makes it even funnier that they brought the chain.
Yes. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, I mean, starting with Fuji, I mean, I've never heard that one, but it's one that I did hear where he literally had paid someone, I forget who car was it, but he paid someone to take the engine out. And when they tried to turn on the car, it wouldn't turn over, and then it looked, there's no engine. It's like, what the fuck? And then Fuji paid to have the engine put back in, of course. But it was, it was just hilarious. And it's like, they got it. He's like, who took the engine? And it's like, fucking Fuji, of course. He's laughing his ass off. You paid to have the engine put back in. But yeah, it was just hilarious. And with Curt, I had something. I bought like fart spray, which is what it was called when I bought it. if you would spray it, it
Oh.
literally smelled like fart. Like it would smell like just like somebody just farted horribly. Like they had boiled scrambled egg salad, boiled eggs all at once. It was just gross, you know. I sprayed it. It's like, oh, like, jeez. I'm not surprised Curt using that on the flight attendant was brilliant though, because I'm sure she like, who the fuck did that? It's just disgusting. And it's like, who shit themselves? And it's like, it wasn't me. It's like, I bet you, because if you spray it on somebody, it ends up, you know, wet.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing this. It's like, oh, you motherfucker, you know.
I mean, I mean, I heard another story on his. It was literally called, you know, The Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, where him and his dad were they were at a house show, and he was literally, you know, they were doing that. It was a tag team battle royal or something, and you had to throw your opponent out, and then that meant your person was gone too. The other person was gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And apparently Curt put this stuff all around, like was like, you know, going like this with it, and just one of the wrestlers said started to smell it, and one of the wrestlers was like, "Who shit themselves?" in front of the audience and everything. I mean, they were literally having a battle royal, and Curt is spraying this stuff all over the mat and stuff, and literally someone yells, "Who shit themselves?" Oh my god! I never laughed so hard in my entire life when I heard that one. I was like, "Well, that's a new one." Because you actually go back and watch AWA, they do have. I don't know if this is the tag team. I thought it was a house show, but it could be this tag. It was a tag team battle royal, and I don't know. You don't hear anyone say who shit themselves, but you definitely see, you know, people flying every which way. But yeah, I could see you're doing that in a tag team. That was in AWA, of course, you know. So they would prank each other all the time. I just think it was funny that they actually pranked each other in a house show. So yeah, I'm going to. Let me see. I don't know how much of this is about Curt, but it's Sean Waltman. So for those who don't know, he was X-Pac, or he would be 6 in
1, 2, 3 kid early.
Yeah, early on he was the 1, 2, 3
early
kid.
in the WWF. Yeah.
Right. So he does talk a little bit about Curt's pranks here. I don't know how much of this I'm going to show, but I was trying to get it done while you guys were talking. So bear with me. I'm going to just hit
You
this.
should play the prank he did on Maven. We played it on our show 2 weeks ago.
I think I have that coming up. If we run out of time, I apologize. We only have like about 53 minutes.
Okay.
Here we go.
One of the many reasons I no longer have a podcast. But yeah, I don't like. I'm making a point. I don't know. Like, obviously, you guys do, right?
Yeah, we do.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
we watch.
I've got to the point though that maybe like you, is that I don't care to see the work anymore. I fast forward through the matches because like they're all the same these days. Everybody's thigh slapping, they're standing there and forearming each other back and forth in the head, and it's like I'm not really missing anything. If I'm missing the match, especially when I know who's going to win, it's like I want to see the promos and the and the interviews and the backstage, the angles, right? But honestly, I've gone full circle in my life that because they had that Joe Pedicino, I would have that VCR tape of the 7 hours.
Yeah.
That watch. Oh, I'd fast forward. I went back to watching it like I used to when I was just a fan before I became a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
I fast forward through the work. I watch all the interviews. I watch all the character stuff. The match starts. I'm like, you go watch them. It's a big one that's been built up, and then the next thing you know, they start slapping their thighs. I fast forward through it, and stuff. So yeah, I just watch it like back when I was like 15 years old. Right now, you know.
The problem that I have, Sean, is that now there's this back then in the day, right?
before we started working and when we were working, bro, you couldn't be doing other people. And there's no problem. What happens is people see something gets over and they hear the pop. And so now everybody's wrestling for that same pop. Remember when the Canadian Destroyer first came out and you'd see that 50 times, show? You're like, dude, do you not notice that every match before you has done this 3 times?
Yeah.
Just like the thigh slapping. You see one guy do it back in the day. You didn't even really notice it. Now it's 5 times per match, 6 matches. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them don't even know how to hide it. Bro, people talk on TV to the other opponent. They don't even hide their face with their hair or like this. A lot of people just talk out there like,
blatantly.
I remember that the hiding.
Yeah.
Curt would do that.
Hiding, talking. That was a skill.
What was that? Yeah, I'm gonna fast forward here.
Blake Shelton.
Sorry about that.
Different than wrestling other guys because he just dragged you through his match. It's like I wonder if you felt the same way when you wrestled.
I didn't, and I'm going to tell you why. Because like a lot of them were TV matches, and the one match I had a singles match with Rick at the Spectrum in Philly.
I saw it.
You were there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did the match look familiar to you at all, Joe?
I think that was Ric Flair.
And I remember
a little bit like Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair from 1980. I told him I'll listen to you, and that's what he did. And he was the baby face, so I had to go, whoa, wait a minute, I'm like dropping, like it was so crazy. He had me doing Ricky Steamboat.
Right. Yeah.
Like he hated being like. I wish he would have been him and Curt Hennig both would have been so huge as baby faces if they would have embraced being a baby face. And both of them hated it. Both of them.
Isn't that weird? Because Flair was so good as a heel that he started getting that fan base where we just have to applaud you because you're so good at being a heel. So
unbelievable.
He'd be a baby face, but he'd be a baby face for like a month.
Bro,
and then you're like, I can't do this. I like being a heel.
Super underrated, bro.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Super underrated. He was incredible in all facets.
Yeah.
Talking.
Did Hennig never get you with? Did you and Hennig ever rib each other? And then okay. Give me the best rib that Hennig pulled on you, and the best rib that you got Hennig with.
Obviously, he shaved my eyebrows and made me think it was a smoking guns for 25 years.
That's
like everyone knows the story. Like, right? Bro, everyone knows it. Like,
we don't.
Come on, you guys.
I've never heard it. I'm serious.
Dude, come on.
Okay. Well,
I'll tell the Cliff's Notes version.
All right.
I'm not going to give him the whole story how I usually do it with all the bells and whistles.
Right. Well, I've never heard it. Yeah.
We were out. It was my first road trip in. I might have been my birthday week too.
Oh, you're a rookie. That's even worse.
Yes, my first trip in.
Yeah.
Greenhorn.
And
do the business, young guy.
Oh yeah. And you know, Jack.
Yeah.
And Jaeger bombs.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And and like I'm like acting like a big shot, right? Like Kurt's telling the story. Like I remember him telling the story to others. And like, like I'm smoking a cigar, like roundy Yeagies for everyone, like a big shot. I put the cigar in backwards and burn my lips.
Right.
On the way back to Billy Gunn's mom's house, I got puke all over the car. Puked all over the girl. Yeah. And then just went to the bathroom and I saw my eyebrows gone in the mirror.
No.
Yeah.
What's your first reaction when you think, okay, my eyebrows are, what do I need to do? Was it like I need a black magic marker? Like, or you just say?
I didn't even like. Did I go?
So now you go out and you cut a promo on the Smoking Guns when you see him. Now,
no.
Okay.
No.
Let me just give you this question: because Curt did something similar with Iron Sheik with the towel. I'm going to tell you in a minute in WWE, but did Curt stir? Man, that's what they did to you.
He didn't go that far. It was more subtle than that, and because that might have been a little bit,
Right.
I mean, Bill. I'm fast forwarding to Billy Gunn telling me, like, when I did have a show, Billy comes on and he finally tells me it was Curt. But anyways, back to the 1893 July. So I see my eyebrows in the mirror. I'm like, oh, and then I go take it down and I got a stripe right down the middle of my pubes too. Yeah, dude. I had to go home. The wife sees it. All that. So, yeah.
Now, did you ever get Curt back thinking it was him?
No.
Smoking guns thinking it was him.
No. Okay, so I'm getting to that, and I can't remember if it was the next road trip. I think it was. We're still on this road trip because I remember showing up to San Bernardino, like fairgrounds. We had a show there. I had my sunglasses on and.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stop playing there. Thoughts and feelings on Sean Waltman's eyes. Angel, we'll start with you.
The eyebrow thing again. It reminds me of my time in college when I got, they got me, my butt, and some friends. But yeah, I mean, it's this classic Curt. It seems like perfect. Like, let's shave this shit off and then force him to go out into the ring with no eyebrows. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really that surprised. It's like, oh, okay, so Curt's got nearly everybody in the business. So it's like, oh, what's your favorite Curt story? Oh, well, it's a rib. You ribbed me one time, So it's like nearly everybody from when he was alive in his prime. It was like, oh yeah, he got me one time, and he got nearly everybody in the business. I just wish Curt would have gotten Vince once. He never did. I never heard it. I know Owen Hart got Vince at one time, and I played it on our show, Steph, when he put all the animals in Vince's office, and they opened it up, and Vince was like, "Oh." He got Owen. Owen got him that one.
Yep. Owen
as far as I know, he's never got Vince. So it's like,
yeah, I don't know. That would be a Vince McMahon question right there. We'd have to ask him because we'd have to say, "Hey Vince, did Curt ever review? And what was the rib?" So Matt, tell us your thoughts.
Well, I wonder if that's how masked wrestling started with the eyebrow shaving. Wear a mask. All right, I'm going to wear a mask. We're starting right now because the easy way to get away with that. But that's hilarious about the animals.
Yeah, that was Owen Hart. So it's actually it's crazy how that all came together. But yeah, Sean Waltman there. He assumed it was Billy Gunn because they were feuding. He was feuding with them. The what do they call them? The Guns, Gun Boys, or something like that.
Smoking Guns. Mm-hmm.
So they were feuding at the time. Of course, him and Billy Gunn. So so he assumed it was Billy Gunn when actually it was Curt.
He told him years later. Oh yeah, it was Curt.
He had the line down the pubes, and the wife wasn't so happy about that.
Oh yeah, it was Curt, by the way. It wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Yeah,
that makes it better.
So go ahead.
No, I'm done.
You know
what I had to say.
I thought you were gonna say.
It's your show. I try not to talk too much, during these things.
No, I want you to talk too much. That's the point. So this next one is the grappler. His name is Denny. They called him Denny. This is the rib of Curt trying to pass a drug test. My guess is they were probably not testing for cocaine or anything. I think they were testing for. They could have been testing for that, but also the painkillers. I think that they were trying to. This is around the time when they were doing those random drug tests.
This had to be 92.
So, yeah, something like that.
Because Vince had strict drug testing then. Vince had that
Yes.
strict drug testing
So,
because of steroid trial.
It could have been that. I'm not sure, but I do know that. Again, I mean, Curt only did coke a couple times, and he wasn't on anything heavy duty that I know of. But I think it's more the prescription drugs that they were kind of after. Because I mean, they talk about on Dark Side of the Ring where guys were just literally walking pharmacies. You could get anything and everything, and so this is
Doctor. They had Dr. Kevorkian who would just sell them whatever.
Right.
I mean, at least in WWF, you were in the 80s.
WWF, yeah. I mean, AWA, I don't know. Someone would have to look that up. So this is Denny talking about trying to pass a test.
I'll tell you some of the inside story there, okay? Nobody knows. So Curt Hennig was the AWA World Champion, and I was the Northwest Heavyweight Champion. And so, we decided, might draw a good house, put, our champion, me, against Curt Hennig, because he was one of the top stars in the country. So, and Curt has been known around there. He wrestled in Portland, Oregon for Don Owens for years. And when he started out as a younger guy and everything. So he had a big name. And so he came to wrestle, and he'd been traveling all around the country. In the meantime, we got all of a sudden wrestling commission in Oregon. And never forget it, because Don Owens never had anybody tell him what to do. He's like 8 years old and he ain't used to listen to nobody. And all of a sudden, this guy comes in and sits down in Don's office after the matches one Saturday night and goes, "Hey, my name is Bruce." I can't remember his last name. Something. He goes, "I'm your new wrestling commissioner."
Oh, no.
Don goes, "What?" I'm your new wrestling commissioner. I just came in from Texas and they got, wrestle every night. But in Oregon, you didn't have to have all that. But now, all of a sudden, this guy is costing people money. Now he's saying, "I want everyone to go to be filled in the rules and regulations that we had to follow." And then also, you had to take an AIDS test. You had to take, and also a drug test. Right. And so here we go. Curt flies in and he's going to wrestle. And now it's my job. I was the booker who worked for Don. Everybody make sure all the guys on the crew get their drug test. And that's a lot of fun trying to get wrestlers past a drug test. Okay. And so Curt comes in and I said, "Curt, you need to get your UA and get your AIDS." He said, "What?" I said, "Well, before this match tomorrow night." He goes, "Brother, I can't pass that." I go, "You got to be kidding, dude. It's the main event. We had a heck of advance. It was going to do a good house." And I go, "What in the hell am I going to do?" And so sitting there trying to figure it out. And Curt and the assassin, right? Dave, they're good friends. Okay, Dave Sierra. So he's there, and Dave, and we're all at my house now. And I'm doing TV. And I said, "Curt, you got to do something, man." He goes, "You're in the main event. You know what we're going to." So he goes down there and he went with Dave, and he's going to try to get Dave, say Dave was him, and get him to. So he went in there, sitting in the office, and he says, "Yeah, I'm here to take you UA." And the lady goes, "Curt Hennig?" So yes, and Dave said, "Yeah, that's me." And she goes, "You're Curt Hennig?" Of course, she was a wrestling fan, so she walks in the back. There's these two big old wrestlers. They jump up and run out of the place because they're scared kids, right? They don't know what, man. Man. I said, "Curt, you're going to have to go to the ring with a sling on, and say you got your shoulder arm busted, and you're gonna say you're gonna let Dave was Top Gun. He wrestles Top Gun. Was like the number one contender, and so you're gonna let him. You're gonna hand the AWA belt to him and let him defend it for you. And you said at ringside management. I said that's all we can do. I'm guessing instead of Curt for the AWA title. It's just, anyway, it was just screwed up, man. But you know what? We got by. People was all happy. So thank you, good Lord. But that's the way that went.
Yeah. So,
he's like,
thoughts. Go ahead.
He's back in those days. The commission was, they thought wrestling was a shoot, so they would like, oh yeah, let's do. They drug tested all the wrestlers. And depending on the part of the country, in New York, all they would do is just take your heart rate and blood, and they would take your blood pressure. Okay, good to go. Like it depended what part of the country you're in. Like in Pennsylvania was even easier. In the Northeast territories was easy. All they, you just take blood, like heart rate, and they'll check your, they'll use a stethoscope, and that's it. You're good to go. Wrestle. And apparently in AWA, it was a lot more tougher. Yeah. Oh, yeah, urine test and all this other stuff. And it's like, I can't pass that shit. I can't pass it. Like, what are we going to do? You're the world champion. It's like, I don't know. I mean, eventually they came up with that idea and like, oh, you're Curt Hennig? It's like, you don't like Curt Hennig. Like,
and it sucks that the woman who was taking the test was a wrestling fan. And she knew what Curt looked like.
Like, you sure you're Curt Hennig? You know, Curt. And it's like, oh shit, you're gonna have to pretend you broke your arm or injured your arm or something.
Yeah, it's awesome they ran out of there.
Like two little kids. What the fuck do we do? What do we do? She recognized us. They almost busted us.
Because a lot of people in the commission weren't wrestling fans. Usually, they were more like boxing people. I know they were marks. So it's like, oh shit, somebody in the commission's a wrestling fan. What do we do? He recognized it's not Curt.
Oh, that's not Curt. That doesn't look like Curt.
Yeah.
So the next one, we're gonna only do a few more here because we're coming down to the nitty gritty here. I do want to get mine in for the updated version from well, it's an updated rib from Shane Douglas. I couldn't think of his name. Sorry, Shane.
Douglas,
sorry.
He was Dean Douglas in WWF. So
right. So this one is, again, I saw this really briefly. It is Ric Flair. Don't like Ric Flair. But when he starts talking about Curt, well, now I'm interested. So this is Ric Flair's favorite Curt Hennig rib.
Okay.
I've done it in a few weeks here on the program. Ask Nate. Let's jump into it. We got tons of questions. Here's one that I know the answer to, but I don't think it's what people are expecting you to say. Instagram Wrestling Historian says, what was your favorite Curt Hennig rib?
Oh, my.
Oh, probably the best one I ever saw. I personally didn't laugh at it, but Curt took. Let me tell you what it is. There was a guy that was, I can't remember what you'll know the story. I don't want to mention his name, but there was a kid traveling with Kurt Angle that did something stupid, and so Curt took his bag off the carousel at the airport, at baggage claim, and put it in the trunk of a stranger's car. No clothes, nothing. In the middle of it.
My goodness.
So honestly, I think what he's talking about here is, some people think he's talking about Shawn Stasiak. I don't think that was Curt. I think that was definitely Sean Waltman. But something similar happened to Shawn Stasiak, where Stasiak had a bag that went missing, and they said, "Oh, Curt took it with him, or he threw him in the trash, or because everyone knew that Curt was a big ribber." But again, I don't remember Shawn Stasiak with Kurt Angle. and I don't remember Sean Stasiak doing anything weird or bad or anything. But I think what he's talking about is someone else. So a lot of people thought, oh, this is about Sean Stasiak. I don't think it's about Sean Stasiak.
Stasiak was never with Kurt Angle or Curt Hennig. Stasiak was in WWF. He was meat.
They knew each other because, again,
he was meat in WWF.
Right, but he was also in the Perfect One. So he was with Kurt in WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, WCW, they were trying to make Sean Stasiak the Perfect One there at the end. But I don't think Sean, I don't think Kurt would be that mean because like Sean never saw that bag again. It had all his personal stuff in it, you know, his license, his money, credit cards. Yeah, it literally had everything that Sean needed. So, and it was literally Sean Waltman who literally said, "Oh, it was Curt Hennig." I don't think Kurt would be that mean.
Well, Kurt got blamed for everything, even if he didn't do it, because he happened to be in the company.
Right.
So, but Stan, his dad Stan, didn't he beat Bruno for the WWF title?
I think so. Yeah.
It was Stan. Stan happened to be backstage, and is like, "Oh, you want to beat Bruno for the title?" And he's like, "I guess. I don't know. You guys want me to do it? I'll do it." But it's like, shit. I don't want to beat Bruno. Who's like, they're gonna kill me.
Right.
You know,
well, and the thing is that the Curt and Larry Hennig knew the Stasiaks because I mean Stasiak would be wrestling in the AWA along with Larry the Axe Hennig. So I mean the families knew each other, and of course Curt knew Sean Stasiak and Stasiak knew Curt. So I'm actually going to stop that and go to a different one. But I do have that. That maybe for another time, where he thinks that Sean Stasiak on the harshest rib ever played on him. Again, I do not think it was Curt. I think it was someone else like Sean Waltman, and then Curt just got blamed for it. But this is the Marty Jannetty one. This is funny. I mean, this is funny. So I'm gonna. Sorry that there has to be stupid.
I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, we had to pretty much. This is when you know that you must be up there when you truce out with each other. Old Curt got me the best he ever got me. He'd locked my bag to the drawers, the hotel drawers. You know, where it had the handle, and he had a little bit of a chain, and they locked my bag to the drawer.
Yeah.
And the next morning we was running late, so I didn't have time to. Is what I do, break the drawer apart or what? The way you get somebody back is a real backfire, right? So I just went out and went through the airport with it. And Curt was like, "Oh man, Mike, you don't do that. No, I'm taking this with." When we got to the, where you switch back and goes through, I had to do it with a drawer attached to it. And they were even confused, like, what do we do? The people working there, they were like, what do we do about this? Curt's like, he always checks his drawers. He always Curt was so funny. But it ended up, I actually didn't get made that far. Because they didn't know what to do. They went through, they let it go through. But then when we got to the plane, it wouldn't fit in the overhead. Like, well, you go. They were confused. Like, well, we can't let you have a drawer, but we don't know what. No. When you go, end up having to take that, and
Curt would never with him again. Yeah. Thoughts and feelings, really quick on this. Go ahead, Matt. You go first.
Well, I wonder, like, when they sit there and look for a second, I mean, I know they got to think about what they're being asked, but I also wonder, should I say that? Or I'm sure there's got to be some ribs they probably can't talk about. Or do you think?
Marty, honestly, I didn't understand really very little what he said. He's like,
yeah, that's just Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, I know. And
for those who didn't really hear it, so
yeah, I'm like, what the hell did he just say?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I'm thinking to myself, how was Marty? Because they in WWF when they separated the Rockers, they thought Marty would be the star, and Shawn was more like the other guy. Just the and it turns out it was reversed. And I'm like, how they thought Marty be the star? But he talks like this, I can barely understand him. So I know, he has issue with drugs and alcohol, and his brain, is probably not functioning. But come on, I mean, Marty was too much of a drinker and a druggie. That so was Shawn, to be fair, but Shawn was just much. Even I was never a Shawn Michaels fan, but I could admit when he was great. He was great. So. Yeah, but I didn't really understand what he said, so it's hard for me to react to what he said. So like,
okay, well, I can summarize.
How is it worse that they took the drawer instead of, you know what I mean?
Well, and they just break it, like just break it.
We're not going to break it. We'll just take it.
Yeah, they're going to take it. And like I said, he would never ring him again. So what happened was, to summarize, give me just 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay. So to summarize what happened here, Curt ribbed Marty really bad to the point of literally Curt had chained Marty's bag to the drawer in one of the hotels or motels. And basically, they were running late. So literally, Marty was like, well, I'll just have to take the drawer with me because they didn't have time. Like he said, what am I going to do? And again, this goes back to what you were saying, Angel. Just cut the bag. Cut the thing on the bag.
Yeah.
Or they could just take the drawer and just break it or something, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that they could do. Break the handle or something, yeah. I mean, they were wrestlers, for heaven's sake. So what happened was they went through, I mean, people at the airport are kind of confused. They're like, wait, what's going on here? Why do you have a hotel drawer stuck to your bag? And Curt made the funny statement, oh, he always checks his drawers. He's like, oh, Curt's always funny like that. And literally they tried to get it onto the plane, but it wouldn't fit in the overhead. So they literally did not get on that flight. But I mean, people were like, they didn't know what to do. I'm like, you idiots, break the damn drawer. Break the damn drawer or something, the handle or something, make it come off or something. So for anyone, like I said, who knows Curt, he was just that kind of person. But yeah, he never did rid Marty Jannetty after that because it backfired on him, basically. Just totally backfired. This rib totally backfired on Curt Hennig because there's nothing really he could do. I mean, except for Marty, pull the dang drawer to the handle off, you idiots. So, your thoughts on that little recap?
Well, I mean, there's another great rib there. It's like, oh, that's it. Oh wow. I mean, it was, I mean, Marty must have been high or drunk or something because if you ripped off the handle, it'd be a lot easier. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, just rip off the handle.
Just rip off the handle, you moron.
But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's like you idiots. But yeah, I mean, it's this is another great rib from Curt Hennig. So
even though it backfired completely on him.
Yeah.
And he would never rib Marty again.
No, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do 2 more here. Maybe 3, because I do want to get this one about Bret Hart does about Curt Hennig ribbing. But they asked him would Curt ever rib Owen, and he's like, no. So this first one we're gonna watch is literally Barry Darsow talks about how Curt ribbed him, and it had to do with Larry Hennig, who is Curt's dad. So take it away, Mr. Darsow.
He invited you to see his pets. I thought that was a great story.
Oh, unbelievable. So
he lived on a lake. It was out kind of by Zimmerman.
Now this is Larry's house.
So I'm thinking, pets. We're out in the kind of the middle of nowhere, and he walks me out in the dock, and he's got some dog food, and he throws it out in the lake, and there's about 1,000 fish that come up and start eating this dog food. And when I'm talking about, it was thousands.
Really?
And they used to feed him bread, feed the bread right out of his hand. It was just incredible.
That really is God's country up there.
Oh,
I got to spend some time in Minnesota.
What a place to go fish and throw your line in there. You can sure catch them fast, you know.
Well, I tell you, I thought that story was going to lead to a rib where he had said
It wasn't. It was the truth.
He had some pit bull in the backyard that was going to jump you once he threw the dog food or something. It was actually a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Just trying to imagine all those fish.
He fed those fish same time every day.
Well, that's a nice retirement. Something
Yeah.
to look forward to like that. Almost like Tony Soprano with the ducks on the TV show, right?
Yeah.
Only he didn't have thousands of ducks, so maybe he would have really needed the psychiatrist. But Larry Hennig, great guy. We
What a
missed
good
him.
guy.
We inserted a little video, I think, from Las Vegas as you and I were talking about Larry. We miss him. I miss so many of the greats.
Oh, I miss Curt too, big time. And
I remember
Rick Rude and,
when Curt passed, we had an event late that weekend with Paul Bearer, and he was very, very close with Curt. And he had some sad insight into his passing. I think Curt was in his early 40s when he passed away.
Yeah. Oh, Curt, what a good guy Curt was.
Time and only I need to respect that boy. Not that I ever sat down and had a conversation with him like this, but I bet we would have had some good stories with him too.
Oh yeah, you know, I trained with Curt in the gym a lot, and when
Now,
Curt got a little harder, so he finally got in the business, and then I was getting trained by Eddie Sharkey at the time, and I called up Curt and said, "Hey, Curt, I got my first shot in Hawaii with Mrs. Maivia." And he says, "Oh, congratulations." I said, "I have no wrestling trunks, and I got to leave in about 2 days." And he says to me, he goes,
You didn't have any trunks.
I had no wrestling
Really?
trunks to go. You know, all I wore was longs and trunks. They were black with a red and blue stripe. I'll never forget it because first, I have a couple other pairs and everything, and I didn't know that Curt took these trunks out of Larry's drawer. These were Larry's best pair of wrestling trunks that he ever had. So I didn't know this at the time. So Larry kept asking Curt, "Where in the world are my trunks?" And Curt says, "You know, I didn't want to say this, but you know, he was over at the house one day, and he's a big man for you. So he says, I saw him go in the drawer and take your tights." That's what he's telling his dad.
Oh, God.
So I don't see them
Oh, no.
on the road for about a year or 2 years. I see Larry at a town one day, and he's looking at me like he's going to kill me. And I thought, and I know how you doing? He just didn't say a word to me. So about 2 months later, I see Curt, and I go, "Curt, what's the deal with your dad? He didn't even talk to me or nothing." He goes, "I don't know. You know, he must have been in a bad mood or something." So then Larry talks to Curt and says, "You know, Curt, I can't believe you stole my trunks. Those are my best."
This is 2 years later now?
Yeah.
This is still a topic?
Yeah, so I'm on the road. I mean, he must be just burning up, you know. This dang Darso, what an ass, you know. So anyways, so I say to Curt again, I said, "Curt, you know, I saw your dad again, and you don't even talk to me." So then Curt goes, "I told him you stole his trunks. Those were his best." I said, "You got to be kidding."
What?
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you
True
mentioned
story.
that.
I told Larry, I said, "It wasn't me. It was Curt. Curt took them out and gave them to me."
Now, Larry is a smart guy. Larry knows the prankster that Curt Hennig was. How did
No, I didn't. I wasn't gonna.
Did he ever?
I still got the tights.
Did he ever see you in the tights? When you ran into him in the other towns, were you still wearing them?
No, I wasn't wearing them in front of him. I didn't want to do that. But
Okay. We will take that down. Thoughts really quick so I can get the next thing up.
He stole his trunk. He stole his trunk. I mean, he gave him his dad's best trunks. Like, oh, yeah, here, take these. You know, these are extras. Like, oh shit! Turns out they were his dad's best trunks. I mean, I didn't like Curt was home with your dad. It was like, I don't know, man. He was just in a bad mood, I guess. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I told him that you stole his trunks. Like, what? Like, I didn't steal it. How could you? Your dad could have killed me, you know, if he wanted to. Like, come on. But yeah, it was another hilarious.
It was so. I mean, right. So I mean, it literally was. When I saw that, when I heard that, it was so funny. I literally can't tell you how funny that was. When I first heard it, I was just like, dang, that's pretty bad. But I mean, like, Curt did it, you know, just to have fun with both of them. And I mean, Larry took it very seriously.
Yeah.
He was pissed. Like, I can't believe he gave it to my best tights. What the hell? Matt, go ahead. Your thoughts on that, and then we'll do one more.
Well, it's funny that it lasted for 2 years that he was still mad at him about that.
Yes. And Curt's like, I don't know. Well, maybe my dad was in a bad mood. I mean, it just goes to show that the lighthearted funniness of Curt, and everyone, you know, talks about him with such affection. Even if you wanted to kill him because of his ribs, he still was that, you know, fun-loving, happy-go-lucky guy. And of course, we miss him to death. Okay, so this is going to be the last one we do because I will have to get off of here very, very soon to put my son to bed. Now, this is an updated version of the rib I heard originally from Shane Douglas. This is my email to Shane Douglas. I wanted to know, basically, he doesn't go over the email yet, not in this clip. So my email was basically, hey, you know, I heard about the airplane rib that Curt did. Can you tell me any more rib stories that you know about Curt? And he did say one other one, but that was more about, like, you know, the Warrior and Marty Jannetty and these college kids that were making fun of the wrestlers. So the wrestlers took revenge on them. Curt was on the flight. But it was more like Marty Jannetty could have gotten in big trouble because they had that K something. It's literally a drug you take and then you go to sleep and you lose weight. Well, they actually K-bombed these college students, and like this lady was really endowed, and they cut her shirt so she was hanging wide open.
Oh no!
And then the thing is, like, the two college guys had peed and pooped all over the plane because they had been also K-bombed. So, like, literally, they got arrested, even though the wrestlers, you know, completely like K-bombed them and ripped them really badly. But this is the updated version of what I heard Shane Douglas and the plane ride incident with Curt. It's such a great one, but that was basically my email to him was I just wanted to know if he knew of any other ribs other than the plane ride, not the plane ride from hell, but the rib on the plane that I heard Douglas say the first time. So I will bring that up. Here we go.
And then there's another plane story with Curt where we're up in first class and we get on the plane, and anybody there's a big river. So the guy next to him keeps on waking him up. Like, hey man, I'm gonna tell you, asking him. And Curt like entertained him for a while. I'm like, hey, gives him shut eye. We're, you know, got a long day ahead of us. And this guy keeps waking him up and keeps waking him up. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going somewhere bad eventually, but I guess up and goes to the bathroom, and Curt didn't turn around and go, hey, everybody, watch this. Sticks his hand down his pants, digging around, and he pulls his finger out. He's got shit on his finger. And he reaches over to the guy's glass, and he rims the guy's glass. Shit. Guy goes back and sits down. And now, Joe Laurinaitis was up there, Mike Hegstrom, Hawk and Animal. It's all first class except this guy. Wrestlers except this guy. And the guy picks his glass up, but he keeps waking Curt up, and he goes to take a drink, and we all go, doesn't take it, puts it back down, keeps knocking. A couple minutes later, oh, like he's like, oh, like, oh. And I'm thinking he must have smelled it. He's got to see it. I can see chunks of around the rim of the classroom. Finally, several minutes goes by, and he picks it up and he takes a big long drink, and he goes, "Excuse me, stewardess, can I have another glass? This one tastes like shit." And everybody, there's Curt sitting in the seat next to one. Going up and down. Yeah, Curt was like renowned for that kind of stuff. Like he got to the point where, like walking through a bar, just holding a beer in your hand, like walking through the bar, bottle of beer, you'd feel somebody hit your hand.
What?
Look around, people all around you. People are looking. There's a couple pills down the bottle of them. Yeah, give me another beer, please. Used to learn to walk around with your thumb over the top of the beer, right, to make sure somebody doesn't Mickey you. But yeah, those guys are on almost every type of flight. Not necessarily anything that bad.
For those who, I heard the original, so the original was a lot funnier. That was more of an updated version. So for those who may not have understood him, basically Curt was on a plane. And there was a guy, all first class had been upgraded to wrestlers except for this one guy. And Curt, was talking to him and says, hey, we got an early show. I got to get some sleep. And so, Curt's trying to sleep and this guy keeps waking him up. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I really got to get some sleep, And Shane makes the comment that, Curt wasn't like the one to go, hey guys, watch this. I want to rib this guy. He literally, the guy gets up to go to the bathroom. Curt sticks his hand down his pants, comes out with what the first one originally, Shane Douglas says it looked like chocolate, and he rimmed the guy's glass with this chocolate, and then of course cleaned it off, and then pretended like he wasn't doing anything, and literally like he does this. Like he's going to take a drink, but he doesn't. And then, so the guy's going to drink it. And then, like, as soon as, like, Shane Douglas says, as soon as he thought, oh, he must smell it. He must know there's shit on there. As soon as he thought that, the guy takes a big swig, goes, excuse me, stewardess, can I have another glass? This one tastes like shit. And he said all you could see was Curt's shoulders bouncing up and down. And I just want to say this right before we wrap this up, but this just goes to show what I've been saying to everybody is that Curt shit doesn't stink. Yes.
Well, imagine if you're that guy and you're still alive and you're hearing the story about the plane and Curt doing that. It's like, oh, motherfucker, he put shit on my thing, literally. That's why it tasted like shit. Even though it was like 30 years ago. If that guy's still alive and he's watching these shoots, because he's a wrestling fan, he knew who Curt is, so I assume if he's still alive, he's watching these shoots, it's like, oh, Curt got me, motherfucker.
Oh, you motherfucker. Yeah, that was my all-time favorite rib story from Curt Hennig, from someone else about Curt Hennig, and I literally was rolling on the floor laughing because I'm like, you can't smell it, and like I said, it just goes to prove that Curt Hennig shit doesn't stink. Not your thoughts.
Oh, let the man sleep.
Yeah.
Let the man sleep. And no one ever fucking think on Curt Hennig ever again. Yes. This was my, like I said, all-time favorite. Hearing it, I laughed until I cried. Because if I were on that plane, I would just be laughing hysterically. And of course, you could, see the shoulders bouncing up and down. Of course, he was the king of ribs, y'all. I mean, what's not to love about Curt Hennig? He was the king of ribs. He literally did this stuff not to, I mean, honestly, let the man sleep. Yes, you're right, Matt.
And like you were saying, mischievous, not
because
malicious.
otherwise you're going to get ribbed.
Yep.
But yes, mischievous, not malicious. And it was just, kind of like, if you hadn't paid your dues or whatever, Curt would sort of pick on you when it came to that. Now, I would like to go over the Bret Hart one, but we are really running out of time here. I got like 6 minutes, or otherwise my son will come out here and go, "Mommy, it's bedtime." So just to wrap up, this is like the ultimate rib stories. I would like to do another one, like maybe ultimate rib stories number 2. And then we go over, because I want to do the one where they thought Curt botched or ribs Lex Luger at WrestleMania 9. It wasn't the case. I'll just tell the story really quick. That Lex Luger at WrestleMania 9, Lex Luger's first WrestleMania was with Curt Hennig. And Curt was all like, caffeinated up, and he's like, yeah, let's go. Have you ever been like in school and you guys are like, oh yeah, I studied and everything, I'm all good, and then you get to the test and you're like, oh shit, I forgot everything I learned.
Yeah, I heard.
Totally blocked it out, and they're like, oh, he ribbed you, and Luger's like, well, he must be a great actor, because it wasn't a rib, not to Lex Luger. But I feel awful for Curt at that point. Oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? And he's like asking, what do we do? What do we do? And then Luger's like, oh shit. I don't remember. He remembered bits and parts of the match that they had agreed on, and if you watch the match, you don't really see any of the. You don't see them like hiccup there. They're just kind of like I guess they called spots or whatever. But they eventually did remember. Curt did actually remember some of the match or most of the match once they got going. But Curt, he wasn't even on anything. He just was like on caffeine, because they've been up. And it's like literally like you have a test in school that you studied for, and you're ready to take it, and all of a sudden you forgot. All right. Well, in that case, because I only have 4 minutes left. So I would like to thank my lovely guests, Angel Riviera and Matt Collins, for joining me today. This was amazing, guys. And like I said, we have to have you back. I might even have maybe Kit Cabello for, Ultimate Ribs 2, knowing that ribs are going to come out about Curt, and, more stuff is going to come out about Curt. Of course, there was the Jim Cornette where he would say, he would glue your shoes and your socks to the floor, and Jim Cornette had some really great words to say about Curt. But again, everyone, I'm just going to do some shameless plugs. Matt and I are going to be doing another episode of Black Magic Talk. Now, this will all be in the future. So if you'd like to stop this and you'd like to go over to Black Magic Talk, we're going to talk about Maybon. Maybon was yesterday. I hope everyone had a blessed Maybon. We're going to talk about the history, and then we're also going to talk about, what it means to us. And then Pro Wrestling Talk is Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always Saturday unless you hear otherwise. And this week, Angel, we're going to talk about what? Or I think we're going to review something or something.
Well, about it, actually, and since we're in the future, we would have reviewed Bad Blood, and AEW Grand Slam is also happening, I think, the week after. So we'll definitely be talking about that too. We would have talked about that. So,
So everybody's links are in the description field. I'm going to have everyone's links down there, plus my own. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, hold off on that for just now. I would like to check out Ko-fi and see what that's all about first, and then we'll kind of make the switch, and then you guys can donate on Ko-fi. If you would like to hit anybody down there for the Cash App, my Cash App is down there. Angels will be down there, and if you want to donate today. But that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, everybody, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
Nobody.
Okay, guys, this is where we're going to do some shameless plugs here.
So the first shameless plug, if you could please go over to my other show, which is Black Magic Talk. I will put the links in all the description fields. Just to, if you could just kind of browse it, if you are not only a wrestling fan, but you like Wicca or paganism, and you'd like to learn more about it. We just did some recent episodes. So if you'd like to hop over there, just click the link in the description field. If you would like to give to the Black Magic Talk Patreon, that link will be in the description field. And again, if you would like to have a tarot reading on the show, you can DM me on X. My link for that X will be in the description field. If you would like to do one off the show, you can also just DM me and I will give you my rate. My co-host is Matt Collins. He can also give you a tarot reading on the show or off the show. If it's on the show, all you would have to do is become a Patreon supporter for $5 a month. You get all kinds of perks. And again, we can let you know when you can come on the show. And if you'd like to do it off the show, Matt can definitely give you his rating for doing tarot. The next shameless plug I would like to do is, of course, Pro Wrestling Talk will always be on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It is scheduled to change, but Angel and I will let you know on the Wrestling X. So if you would like to DM us at any time, me and Angel, my link will be in the description field for my Wrestling X, and that is for Pro Wrestling Talk, and also for this podcast, Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. If you would like to give to the Patreon, I have for Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. Again, you can go and look in the description field. It should be there. I have $1, $3, $5, and $10. The other show is just $1, $5, and $10. Or no, I'm sorry, it's $3, $5, and $10. I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check. But if you could give, thank you in advance. If you'd like to ask any questions for pro wrestling or Black Magic Talk, you are free to direct message me on X, or Angel, my host for Pro Wrestling Talk. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday, unless it is scheduled to change, but we will definitely let you know beforehand. So, of course, this show, I'm going to do a shameless plug for this show. Again, $1, $3, $5, and $10 you can contribute on Patreon. If you would like to give on Cashapp, I will take donations on Cashapp, but direct message me on X if you would like to do that, and I will give you my handle. So if you have any questions like about the show or any technical questions, you can always direct message me on my X, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. The next shameless plug I would like to do is for Hardlands Media, Kit Cabello, someone I call a good friend of mine. Please check him out. He is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central, and that would be 10 p.m. Eastern. So 9 a.m. Central, he is Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, depending on when you can catch him in a good mood for a Saturday brunch. If he does do Saturday brunch, I usually am sleeping or at work, so but check him out. He's really good on politics, and I have the pleasure of calling him friend. Some more shameless plugs. If you could also subscribe to Angel in the Afternoon. He does a great job on politics as well. And that's Angel in the Afternoon. And he's usually on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. That is also scheduled to change. If you have any questions about it, he'll usually let you know. And he will definitely, you can direct message him if you need to get a hold of him. The last one is Deconstructing. His name is Dave. I really recommend him too. He has a little podcast on YouTube. All you'd have to look up is Deconstructing Topics.
and he does some really good stuff. I really recommend you guys check him out. Subscribe to everybody I just said here, and check them out. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody. Hey, Curt Hennig fans, just want to let you know that the ending outro song is AI generated. Again, it is AI generated. Thank you all for listening. And remember, everyone, no one beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
He walked into the ring, a legend set to soar. In the flashing lights you could hear the crowd roar. With a twinkle in his eye, a swagger in his stride, Curt Hennig, he was more than a star in their eyes. From the farms of Minnesota to the wrestling hall, he stood undefeated through it all. A father, a friend, a hero we'd see, perfect in the memories for you and me. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he rise to his feet. Though he's gone now, a hero we'd see, perfect in the memories for you and me. In the quiet of the evening, stars shining bright, you'd hear tales of his glory long into the night. With a grip like a vice and a smile that gleamed, he lived every moment like out of a dream. His days in the sun and the nights in the cold, stories of Curt never grow old. Remember the laughter, battles hard fought, perfectly missed, but never forgot. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he rose to his feet. Though he's gone now, a hero we'd see, perfect in memories for you and me. He was Mr. Perfect, never missing a beat. With every match, he rose to his feet. Though he's gone now, his legend's still strong. He used to